All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. Today is going to be a banger. This is going to be a damn good episode. We had dinner with our guests last night. We tend to do that a lot if we can have somebody come the night before. And I'll tell you what, we're in for a treat. You guys are in for a treat. I think you're going to get a lot of value from this one. A lot of entertainment. This is a really interesting guy. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. If you get any value from the show, all that we ask is you share it out with the people that you know. It's kind of the ticket to admission to watch or listen to the show. And we found the best way to grow the podcast is through word of mouth and organically through you guys. We appreciate all of you that do that. Another thing you can do to help us out here at Barn Talk is you can leave a review on Spotify or Apple. The more you guys do that, the more credible you make our show, which in turn allows us to have great guests that we're having like today. Come to the barn, have some awesome conversations with us. And it takes 2 seconds, guys. We love hearing your thoughts overall. Last thing you can do to support us here at Barn Talk is you can go sign up for our weekly newsletter. We're putting together a weekly newsletter all about what's going on in rural America with our thoughts on it. It's completely free, and we have a goal right now. If we get to 10,000 newsletter subscribers on that email list, we want to throw a live event right here at the barn, have some bush light, bring on speakers that have been on the podcast, have delivered a lot of value to you guys, and just have a kick-ass time and get to meet you guys, interact with you guys, all that. So
How long of a newsletter can you make before people stop reading all the way through it? Because it's hard to pack all that stuff in there. Like, I always feel like there's just more. Like, I always want to add more to it.
I don't know. I think we got a pretty sizable newsletter that's digestible, but it's not too long. I think you don't want to get it too long because then people won't read.
Spans.
Yeah, people won't read it. We try to give you guys a mix of farming, blue-collar trades. We do a trivia word at the end. We do some trivia at the bottom of the newsletter. So it's I like it. Anybody that's subscribed to it, I'd love to hear the feedback. And what I also love about it is it gives you guys the chance to interact with us because people can reply to it, which is cool. You can't always, talk a ton on YouTube comments or anything like that. So it's nice to kind of hear people's overall feedback. But
I didn't know that it was gun show day here in the barn, or I would have worn
I had to match the energy of our guest today. He's a pretty swole individual. We went and got a workout in this morning, and so I really wanted to just fill this barn with testosterone this morning to just uplift you and just match the vibe today.
Well, thanks for not calling me.
Yeah,
because
I didn't figure you would want to come, and you probably got enough lifting in today with chores. So
I did. I got sick pigs, so I've been working on my guns 2 pigs at a time. So it's a heck of a deal.
How are you overall?
I'm feeling good. We got the beans all planted. I don't know how far David is on his. He's over at his place running. If the weather holds, we'll be back here Thursday. Back here tomorrow, and if the weather holds out, we should have all our corn planted by the end of the week. So that would be fantastic. And then, I don't know, then it could warm up. This weather is kind of trash around here. Mm-hmm. I had to get my vest out this morning. I was soft.
Yeah, it was a little chilly this morning.
I don't know.
Mother Nature just keeps teasing us, it seems like.
It does.
But, well, our guest today is living a life a lot of young guys would kill for. Jesse Jordan is the vice president of Jordan Farms down in Nashville, Tennessee, where his family runs row crops and grows dark-fired tobacco the same exact way it was done 200 years ago. He also owns and operates Jordan's Tree Service on the side. We're going to talk about the art of curing tobacco, the reality of modern machinery costs, collecting old trucks, what it's like balancing the Nashville country music scene with the grind of the farm. Without any further ado, let's get into it.
There you go.
Now you got it.
Do you feel cool?
I feel like I look like an idiot, but it's sweet
It is.
You
They're
can already
pretty
tell
good.
it's
They're not
sweet.
bad. And once you get like a fourth of the way into it, that's when it gets good, in my opinion. That and like the last little bit is good. Except sometimes when it goes out and I have the last little bit, I like burn my mustache and like just fucking cringe my mustache. I mean, you have to you get into it now. You're gonna have to really just. There you go. You're getting it now. And that's the thing too with a smaller cigar like that. They're easier to light than one that's like that big around. It takes damn 30
Is
minutes.
that-
No, you still need to go.
You gotta go.
You gotta have that cherry on the end. You gotta have you gotta get it where you can really burn something.
I'm surprised at how sweet that is.
It's good. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And
That's
hit it again. Hit it. Go, keep on. Yeah. So you're getting it lit now. And just once you get it lit, you can just puff on it here and there, and it'll stay lit. So, yeah, you're good. I think. Oh shoot! Here, let me. You might have tossed me that lighter. Okay.
look at that.
What's weird about these cigars too is they're crimped on the end, so they take the excess leaf, they don't cut it off.
They
So
roll it.
It's rolled inside there, and it covers up the end. So sometimes you'll have it cut right here, and you'll go to light it, and you'll have no draw on it. But once it like burns through that initial leaf, it like all comes at once. It's pretty cool how I do.
Trisha's going to be real proud of us.
I've spent a small fortune on cigars. It's honestly quite sad because these are about probably $12 a piece.
Dude, yeah, you've got a pretty good habit going.
Yeah, dude. It's almost like drugs. I mean,
you got to cut trees till 10 a.m. just
I
to
think
cut
I
your
need that.
cigar. Just
That's
to-
exactly what I
Throw me
do.
that lighter.
Yeah, you just need to keep the lighter over there because you're probably gonna go out of time or two. Yeah, dude, it's a bad addiction. And
That's
what's
funny.
bad is I traded my snuff addiction. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to have no chains on
Oh, that
me.
was way cheaper.
Yeah, I know. In hindsight, it was. Now that little tin of cigars is like $30, and that'll last me like 2 days.
Okay.
So
If you pace yourself on
if I
that,
pace myself on that, I think I'm good. So initially, you got to get her going, but as long as you have a good even burn.
That's the thing. Mine wasn't even.
Yeah, and sometimes these cheaper cigars, like these $10 cigars, won't burn evenly because they're not rolled exactly. Not everyone's the same. Like a Davidoff cigar or a Padron, dude. Some of them things are serial numbered, like where they keep up with them. And like I smoked one the other day. I smoked a Padron. I think it was a $110 cigar.
holy
And that
Mother
sucker
Mary.
burnt. I was deer hunting when I smoked it too, which was a terrible idea. And it burnt like perfect. Everything was perfect about it. It's a work of art, like really.
Yeah.
Look, he's over here, dude. It's just it's a big dick thing to do. I mean, people like, oh, you only smoke them for show. I'm like, no, dude, I smoke. Like I'm a smoker. I'm like a pack a day Marlboro Light smoker.
So
with cigars.
when you're going a day and you've got it, you're practically chewing the end of it by the time you get to the bottom.
yeah, sometimes
aren't you?
I'm spitting brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's so pretty much I'm chewing and smoking at this point, which is dumb.
I got a buddy that quit chewing and he thought he was going to quit, just cold turkey
Yeah.
and he couldn't do it. So he started chewing the gum. Then he got addicted to the gum and then he went back to chewing. I said, why'd you go back to chewing? He goes, I figured out the gum was more expensive than the chew and I was addicted to that. So I just went back to chewing.
Well, that's the thing with the Zens, man. It's like it's a cleaner alternative, and I'm sure there's not as many side effects that stain your teeth and stuff. But like you're just swapping one addiction for another.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
that was my thing. Was like whenever I was dipping, I couldn't imagine myself sitting in a duck blind duck hunting and not having a can of snuff in my back pocket. Like I would freak out. So I was like, okay, I don't like this feeling. So I got away from it. I'd lost weight and stuff. And like, then I was good for like 2 years. And then one day I went to the liquor store. I'm like, I'm gonna get a cigar. And it was all downhill from there. I'm like, if you grow tobacco, you got to do a little
Yeah,
something.
you got to
That's
got to
what I'm saying.
represent.
So
It's like me, you got to have a BLT.
yeah.
Got to have the bacon.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, shit, boys, we're live. So Jesse Jordan, welcome to Barn Talk.
Good to be here.
This is a first for Barn Talk. We have never smoked cigars in this barn, and we've never had a guest bring us cigars, but we're making history today.
Yeah, we're pretty smart. We've got 3 lit cigars going in a barn, bone dry, full of straw. So
Well, there's not
what can
very
happen?
much straw left anymore.
We have fire extinguishers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
And
don't have
we're-
any ventilation yet, but we have dreamed. Dad and I have dreamed about getting a cigar lounge down in the bottom half of this barn, because we don't really use the barn for anything anymore. You don't put any animals in it, so we have all this space, and we're like, man, it'd be sick to have a cigar lounge or have a poker, have a poker table somewhere or something like that.
But then where would you put the 2-cylinder John Deeres that are down there?
So that when you open that door, so
Oh,
that
yeah.
we're gonna restore it. We're gonna put it right up there.
Oh, no, that's solid.
That's the plan.
What's the first one down there? The tricycle one when you first.
The one
is that a
right
4010?
inside. There's one right inside the door that's a 4010.
Yeah.
And next to it is a 60, 2-cylinder 60. And then there's a 38 or a 30. I can't remember. I think it's a 38 unstyled A.
Yeah.
And that was the first. So the first tractor that we had here was a Twin City.
Yeah.
A Twin City. And then they got rid of that and they had I think they had a Ferguson. And then my grandpa bought that unstyled A, and they had that forever. And then when my dad came home and started farming, there's an 8N Ford sitting back there, and he and Wayne Knupp and Jack Trotman and Ray Whistler all went to the Ford dealership, and they got a package deal. They bought 4 of them. They bought 4 8N Fords, and then the 60 he added, and then the 4010, and yeah.
I bet that was a huge day whenever that 4010 came to the farm.
Oh, it was a game changer.
yeah, game changer.
People say that's like the best tractor ever made, arguably. You don't think so? What do you think?
I think a 4010's cool. I think a 4020.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 4020 was what the 4010 didn't have quite enough power. That was the thing, and that was the 4020. They upped the power on it. You give me that lighter because I went out.
Yeah.
I went out.
You got to keep poofing.
You got to
on it.
puff on
You
it.
got to keep on. You got to keep puff on it.
Oh, now,
Party foul.
Party foul.
Yeah, there.
All
we
right.
go.
Well, let's. So middle of Tennessee used to be the dark fire tobacco capital of the world.
Well, it still is. Like Robertson County, which we're in Cheatham, so we're like kind of south of Robertson County, southwest ish, and so Robertson County, Tennessee, is the dark fire capital of the world, and then worldwide, like our dark tobacco is called Kentucky Fire Cured, which there's a lot of dark tobacco grown in Kentucky, which I'll probably get some hate from my Kentucky growers from this, but like Robertson County is the dark fire capital of the world. So
Yeah.
it's Tennessee Kentucky Fire Cure, but it's mainly called Kentucky Fire Cure.
So you're one of the. But do you feel like you're one of the only young guys still left
There's
in this
still
game?
some younger ones. I have a neighbor. He's 30. He's got some tobacco, and I'm sure there's some younger guys, but the vast majority is, getting up there.
Yeah, and it's like the old school, old fashioned way of doing it, right? Like,
Yeah, it dark fire tobacco has not changed much at all since it started being grown. We're still using some of the same tobacco sticks that are probably 150 or 200 years old. Like, the only difference is, of course, like the labor in the barns and the scaffold wagons and, just some of the ways we do it. But all in all, it's pretty much the same. It's just gotten a little bit easier in some aspects, like, the setting. We use a transplanter. We don't use wooden scaffolds anymore. I used to set these wooden scaffolds up in a field and cut one area of the field and bring it all to the middle. Now we pull them around with a tractor and the metal gas tubes that's welded and stuff like that. So that makes it a lot easier, but it's still all harvested by hand, and everything's done by hand. Like I was telling y'all last night, each plant from start to finish is touched by a human hand. Like it could be 15 or 16 times in its whole life.
That's crazy.
I know. And it's like I said, it's not like grain farming where you plant it and you spray it and then you're harvesting or, spread fertilizer on it or whatever. It's very labor intensive.
Okay. So, because most of this audience doesn't know anything about tobacco.
Yeah, let's go all in on tobacco to kick things
Go
off.
for it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us. I've spent pretty much my entire adult life wearing a pair of boots. And one thing that I don't have time for, and that's a pair of boots that hurt my feet. These right here are my brunt work boots. And I've put some miles on them. And I'll tell you what, from the very first day I put them on, They were comfortable right out of the box. None of that stiff, painful break-in period where you're walking around with blisters for a month. They've got waterproof construction and farm-resistant leather, which around here with the hog barns is an absolute necessity. They hold up to whatever I throw at them.
And that's exactly why I just got a pair, because when Dad finds something that actually works and holds up the kind of abuse we put gear through, you pay attention. What's really cool about Brunt is that it was started by a guy named Eric Gerard, who grew up blue collar. He was tired of big brands ignoring the trades and turning them into fashion brands. So he built boots specifically for the guys doing the real work. In fact, every product they make is named after a real worker in the trades. It's honestly priced, great value gear that's built for guys like us. And they're so confident in these boots, Brunt even lets you try them on the job. If you don't love them, just send them back. You can always use code BARNTALK10 to get $10 off your first purchase today. You won't regret it. Now, let's get back to it.
So when you start, when you plant it in the field, are you planting it from seed, or have you already started it like in a greenhouse?
Okay, so we started in a greenhouse with foam trays and a float bed.
Okay.
And so we have a seeder, and it comes through and drops the seed in the trays with the dirt. We put it in the float bed, and it stays in there from February till, getting right around now, 1st of May. So, and we mow the plants off, and we add a little fertilizer and, spray them for fungus and stuff like that. And then it's transplanted into a field we use like a 2-row setter with fingers that come down, kind of like a vegetable, how they plant vegetables, kind of the same way. And so that's how it's initially started. And
so how long does it take to get it ready? Like, when do you start your greenhouse, and then when do you take it out to actually plant it?
Okay, so we start the greenhouse usually we start our first plants the end of February. And usually, like this year, we have a 30 by 75 greenhouse. And so we did one bed, which is a fourth of the greenhouse, right at the end of February. And then we did the second bed the next week. And then we waited like 2 or 3 weeks to do the rest of it, because we have kind of our early, so we have options on our plants, and then different varieties as well. But so February 24th, and then, or I think that's when we said it, right around my birthday. And then usually right around Mother's Day is when we first start transplanting and setting. And so what we'll do then is we'll set 10 acres, and then we'll wait a week or two, because we know it's going to take a week or two to harvest that 10 acres. And so it's all planned out like in that aspect. And of course, weather and stuff has a lot to do with it, but that's kind of how we plan from greenhouse to setting is when we'll harvest. And, but some varieties of tobacco can stay on a hill longer than others. And it just depends on a lot of different factors.
So let's talk about growing it. You get it in the field, you're growing it, and then I want to talk about the curing process too. So you talked about last night, you guys don't side dress, or you do side dress?
Okay, so some people side dress. We don't side dress. We put all the fertilizer up front. And so that's kind of what we do, because we're aiming, we want the weight at the end result, but we want also the quality. So like I said last night, a lot of snuff growers will go in and put fertilizer up front, and then they'll see how their crop's doing, on up in the process. And if they want to add some pounds, they'll throw the fertilizer to it. And, but with us, we want a good steady growth throughout the whole process. So we usually just put all the fertilizer up front. And then worst comes to worst, if something's not right, we can always do that. But so that's what we're shooting for, is more of not the biggest, but we just want good quality, even growth.
Because you guys do snuff, right?
Yes.
But then you also are you doing like rolled cigars too?
What we do is we raise the kind of tobacco, it's called wrapper tobacco. It's the same as a snuff plant, but we try to get those top few leaves to be perfect for cigar wrappers, and they're sent overseas. And then the rest of the plant is made into snuff or chewing tobacco or, whatever. So that's kind of what we aim for. And like I said, a lot of other growers don't really raise wrapper. They just want the pounds for snuff. So that's mainly where our tobacco goes to.
Where does it go to Europe usually, overseas?
Yeah, Italy. Yeah. Italy loves.
Italians love ripping cigars.
It's not made to a cigar like we're smoking right now. It's made to like a little cheroot is what it's called. It's like a little kind of like a cigarette, but it's just a cigar. And that's mainly where that goes. And I'm sure some of it goes to other places, but I think that's the main source of where tobacco goes.
Are the Chinese still smoking like fiends, or are they
I
giving
think
it
they are.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think, smoking still like fiends besides us.
Yeah.
Seems
Well,
like.
the Russians are, but we don't sell them anything because we're not playing nice
We're
with them.
barred right now. So.
Yeah.
Which the cigar, our tobacco is, like I said, mainly snuff and chewing tobacco and cigar wrappers. But like, the Carolinas, they raise the vast majority of the cigarette tobacco. And I'm sure there's a lot of cigarette tobacco raised overseas as well. And then there's also, that's a flue cured. And then you have a air cured burley. And that's what you see in like the Kentuckys. And there's a lot raised in Tennessee as well. And then we raise also a air cured dark variety. And I think it's blended into snuff and chewing tobacco. And then there's also an air cured wrapper, which we raise some of that too. So, which it doesn't make as much as a fire cured wrapper because, there's a lot more to fire cured than it is air cured. We just hang it in the barn and just let it go.
Yeah.
Which a lot of guys, there's some big air cured growers that have like barns with fans and vents and crazy stuff, which, usually with us, if we need air, we have fans and stuff. So that's the main thing.
So the growing season on tobacco,
Mhm.
does tobacco is there diseases that you have to worry about? Like we worry about gray leaf spot, tar spot.
So like on tobacco, the biggest killer of tobacco is a disease called black shank. And man, it's the craziest disease. It's a spore in the ground and it gets in the stalk of the plant and just kills it from the inside out.
Oh, okay.
There are black shank resistant varieties, and there's things that can slow it down. But the black shank resistant varieties for us, there's a couple that are good for wrapper, but a lot of the black shank resistant varieties don't do as good on wrapper. But these big snuff growers will raise that, so they have no issue with black shank. But usually black shank doesn't come into the ground on our ground until like the second year. So if you raise a black shank, one that's not resistant to black shank the first year, you want to raise black shank resistant on the second year. And it seems like hard drought or hard rain activates it. So it's like the ground can have it in there and it doesn't even come out until it's activated, which is weird. So that's a big one. There's tomato wilt virus. It's like a rust looking thing that gets on the plant. That's kind of been a thing going on. And then there's just several different things like it's called I can't remember what it's called, but it makes little bitty spots and it's like activated after rain.
That's like
so
tar
it's something like what beans or something would get. And so you have to stay on top of your spraying and everything.
So are there fungicide? Do you spray fungicide?
Oh yeah, all that kind of stuff. So you just have to really be on the lookout for that because if you let that stuff go, it can kill a wrapper crop. I mean, in no time. So we're always on the hunt, looking, watching, and then we raised a variety of tobacco called TND 950, and it's a great variety. It does good for us. But if it stands on the hill too long, it'll start getting a ripe spot. It's like a brown spot. And for snuff, it's no big deal. But like for wrapper, it can just totally kill a wrapper crop if you let it stay. So it's very important when you're harvesting to be on the ball about everything. I mean, you want to cut it at its peak. And because if you let's say, oh, we'll wait a day or two and it sets in rain, and by the time that rain's done and you can't get to it, I mean,
the leaves look like
crap. It looks like it just has a fisheye brown spot on it, and it can just totally ruin the wrapper.
So what about irrigation? Do you guys irrigation, got pivots or?
So we do like overhead irrigation out of like ponds and creeks and stuff. So that's another thing. When we irrigate, or our strategy to irrigating is like, if you look at the forecast and it's already dry and say it's Monday and it says, well, Wednesday it's supposed to rain, we'll just wait till Wednesday to, irrigate. And like, I'm not kidding you, probably 7 out of 10 times it ain't going to rain Wednesday. So you need to be on the ball about that too, because tobacco gets in a stress and the leaves will poke straight up in the air, and it's called foxed up. And if it gets to that point and you irrigate it, it'll come out of it, but it's not the same as if you hit it before that point. So you never want it to get into a stress, So that's kind of what we do. And then, like I said, we do the overhead irrigating, and it's like run off a PTO of a tractor to a
Yep.
reel that pulls it back in. And we have just a smaller irrigation system. So it can do like one gun can do 60 rows at a time.
How
62,
wide a rows do you plant your tobacco in?
40
40
inches.
inch.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
our tractors are all set up to straddle 2 rows on 80-inch centers. And then we're on 40 inches. And then I think I want to say we do 38. A lot of guys do 40 or 36. I think we do 38. I'm not 1,000% sure on that. Now, like a burley tobacco, you'll do it like half of that. So it'll be like an in between. So it has more
Oh,
plants
really?
per acre.
Okay.
So, you know, is the art form of dark fire tobacco really on the curing process?
Mostly on the
side?
curing side.
So what's the difference? Like what makes dark fire tobacco like different? And explain the curing process.
What I tell people to try to put into perspective is like you can have the most beautiful crop out in the field and harvest it and just be perfect, and you can put it in the barn and make it worthless. Like that's the biggest thing. The main process is, you get it in the barn, you build fires under the barn. So like what we do is we lay slabs on the floor solid across the floor, and then we cover it up with sawdust, and it sits there and smolders underneath that sawdust. And when that sawdust falls down into the fire, it keeps it where it doesn't flame up. So, and you can control your heat with how much sawdust you use or how much slabs you put in or what variety of wood you put in.
Okay.
So like if you don't want much heat, we'll throw, some poplar slabs or something like that. And if we want heat, we'll put northern red oak or hickory or white oak slabs. So that's kind of how you can control the heat. But we initially start our curing process with the stalks from the prior year. We'll pile them in the floor, and of course, I should side note this, every year's different. So sometimes we'll do less or more of either. So we'll pile the stalks from the year prior in the floor and, do like a half a bundle and cover up 3/4 of them with sawdust and then light the ends. And we can do every other one in a row, let them burn for a day or two, but you have control because you still have those other ones to light. And, you have more control on how much heat and stuff you use. And then tobacco stalks get hot when they burn too, but it's not like wood hot. So you just have more control over the initial start, because that's a pretty crucial time. Because if you go in there and lay solid hickory slabs across the floor and cover them up with red oak sawdust and you light that stuff and it starts going, if you put too much heat on tobacco, it can cure up green, like a crunchy green. Like you see how your cigar's a brown and it's crunchy, it can cure up a green. And like that is the worst thing you can possibly do. So that's where I go back to, you could have a beautiful crop out in the field, but if you don't know what you're doing and you do that and you green the whole bottom one, and a tobacco buyer walks in there, they ain't going to like that. And so, but on the flip side, if you have a wet year and you don't have the heat when you need it, tobacco can sweat or mold, and that's just as bad, in my opinion.
So it's really an art.
It is, and it sounds like it's hard to explain if you're not there looking at it.
Yeah.
But like, whenever me and my dad like walk in a barn, and he's been doing it for so long now, he knows like what's going on. He can smell sweat before he even steps in the barn, and you can look at that leaf and really tell what it needs, but. It was a lot of trial and error to get to that point, of knowing how to do stuff and raising consistently good tobacco. So, we go through, and once it's dried out, or, the stems is starting to get cured up and the leaf has turned the color. That's what kind of that initial process is called, is we're turning the color from green to brown. It goes from green to like a yellow, and then it gets in a stage. A guy called it the other day. One of my neighbors sees it. Yep, that's in the ugly duckling stage. It looks terrible there for a second. It looks like, it could go either way. But, if you keep on firing it for a few days like you should, it'll turn it into a brown, but the stem will still be green. So once you get it the color you want it, you can go ahead and lay the heat to it and cure the stalk and the stem on out. And then that's called putting finish on tobacco. After that point, is you're getting it that good black. Because these tobacco companies nowadays, they want tobacco black.
Rich, dark color.
Dark. Yeah.
How long does that take typically?
Dude, it just depends on the weather or the barn. It's mind boggling. It still is to me to this day. And I've been around it my whole life. Like how this barn over here doesn't do as good as this barn over here for some reason. So like, like we were getting all of our barns ready the other day, and Dad's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fill that one up first because it's hard to fire and it's easier to fire when the humidity's up, and we'll go ahead and cure that barn out, and then we'll fill up the big barn at the house because we're gonna double crop that barn." And so some barns don't do as good as others, and a lot of these old timers, they didn't build fires like we do now. They would do it in rows, and they'd build fires every day. And so like they burn for a day or two, they go back in there and build them in rows. But like our fires we build will last 5 to 7 days, and we don't have to touch them. But once you get to that point, like I said, it's you need to make sure you're doing the right thing, because it's going to burn for 5 or 7 days, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you go put them out, and do a tear out,
and then start over.
Yeah, and that's just a total, like, I feel like it's a total waste at that point. I mean, you've done paid for the slabs and sawdust and the labor to build the fires. It's just a big deal. So that's basically what you're getting to, is to the process where it's dried out, you're putting finish on it, and when you open the doors and you're looking at the leaves, they need to be good. A dark, rich dark is pretty much what all these tobacco companies are looking for now.
Okay, let's go back one step.
Yes.
So how do you know when the tobacco is ready to harvest? Are you going off days? Are you going off?
Like, man, it's not off days, because we've had some tobacco stand way longer than it should have. It depends on rain, the weather, but you can look at a plant and it'll start getting oily looking. Like the leaf will get like an oily, dark looking, and that's when you know. And you can kind of base it off your days. Like, okay, this has been standing for this long. We know it's getting close. And 2, you can pop the leaf off, and if the leaf has a lot of moisture in it and it's ready to go, you can tell. And a lot of times when you're cutting the tobacco and you bend the plant over and hit it with a hatchet, it'll just pop. And when it's green, you have to actually cut it. You can tell when tobacco is green. And if you cut the tobacco too green and put it in the barn, it's a lot more sensitive to the heat. So you can green the back in the barn when it's more green than when it's ripe.
So pretty much every step of the way, you got to do it at the right time.
Yes, it's not like one big thing can ruin a tobacco crop. It's like a death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. So,
okay, so the barns you're using, how big is an average barn that you would?
We're the average barn we have is, man, they're all different. That's the thing. Like we have barns ranging from, like, I got one that's will hold 1.5 acres, and then we have one that'll hold 5.5.
Okay.
And which our barns are just mid-sized compared to the Robertson County guys. There's guys out there that have like 10-acre barns, but there's always that hazard of a barn can burn down. Something can happen.
Yeah.
So we always try to build them 5 acres is like the biggest we would want to build, because if you lose a 5-acre barn, that's a big loss. You know? And so that's kind of the standard now, which we got a lot of barns that hold 2 acres, 2.5, 3, 4, so it's all spread out across from 1.5 acres to 5.5 acres. But 2, it depends on how the tobacco is. Usually after we harvest and cut it and it's on the scaffold wagon, we'll let it hang a day or two to where it's good and limp. You can fit more in the barn, but we space it out on the tier post 12 inches. So some guys will do 8 inches, or we really actually space out the dart fire 8 to 10 inches, and then the one sucker or air cured 12 inches. So
so you're hanging them
yes.
on a pole, or is it hanging from like rafters?
It's called tier poles. So the barn's built a lot. There's cross tier barns, and then there's normal straight tier barns, and it's just tiers on top of tiers that are stacked in the barn, and they're kind of staggered for how the roof line is. And so you get up in that barn, and a lot of our barns are like 7 tiers tall. So you'll have in a 7-tier barn, you can have 3 guys in a line, and you just hand it up like that, and the tobacco lays staggered, tail on top of the next one.
Okay.
So it's not like all just packed in there every which way. There's a
method.
There's a method to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And side note too, the bottom tier guy's always a stout son of a bitch, because he's handing up every single stick. And we always put the little scrawny guy at the very top, because he only has to handle a few sticks. So that was our.
Which one are you?
Dude, I've been every one of them.
Yeah.
But I hate to say this, and this sounds kind of lazy of me, but I like to get up there in that top tier. And I'm not afraid of heights. So that top tier is nice to run, because you got a vent usually right there. You got a little air. once it gets about 11 o'clock in August in Middle Tennessee, it's pretty ripe. And it gets
I can
pretty
imagine.
hot. That top tier is nice. And, but I've done it all. I mean, luckily.
So your dad though is he a first generation?
He's a first generation. He grew up around some farming though. His great uncle farmed a little bit off of New Hope Road. And when he was in his 10, 12 years old period, he helped them. And so that's kind of where he got his first start in tobacco. And then over the years, he's always been interested in it. And then I guess in his about my age, he kind of dabbled in growing some. And then we bought a place that was next to, we actually bought it from an old man that raised tobacco. And my dad started helping him a little bit.
So
and then
that's how he learned.
Yeah. And man, the guys back then were built different. They were old school. And that's where my dad initially learned how to raise wrapper tobacco, because the guys who he did it with, the Sharons, man, they raised a lot of wrapper tobacco. And so he learned from them. And then there's another farmer right the road. He's probably one of the best farmers in our county. My dad learned a lot from him on, more of the scale of firing, more on a larger scale. And so that's kind of how he got started in it. And then, like I said last night, the buyout happened in 2006. And so that consolidated all the tobacco to just, those people. My dad always raised good tobacco. So these companies came to him and said, hey, how many pounds do you want? And then it was just from there,
But it's pretty much generational.
It's a generational thing. I know. I think there's not many people like my dad that just fell into it like he did, and it definitely is. There's a lot of these big Robertson County growers and just, growers in Kentucky that it's been in the family for forever. But that's kind of the biggest thing.
I'm fucking loving this cigar right now.
Yeah, I know.
Do you need the lighter?
Lighter in a second. I've done let mine go out.
I knock
because I've been sitting here poppycocking too much.
I don't think I have it. Or maybe I do have it.
You have it. I don't have it.
Do I have it? No, I got it.
Okay,
I got it.
He's got a puff on his too. Okay, so you hang it in the barn. You're getting it that dark color, and then do you take it into a room? Like, so what's the end goal? Like, how do you get it to the end?
The tobacco's done. The fires are done. It's the end result. It's and that's anything in the end result is what it is, no matter what. You can't hide bad tobacco. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
So anyways, you have it at the end result. Usually at the end, you take it out of the barn, but you want to wait till you get some humidity in there, and that tobacco comes in case is what it's called. But that's what the Carolina people call it, is in case. But we always called it in order. I was corrected by a guy from North Carolina the other day about that. So you get it in order or in case, and you take it out of the barn on the stick, and at the bottom, you pull the stick out, stack it on the side. Then we pack it on wagons, and then we take it to the stripping room, which is down at our shop. And then that's where it's graded and stuff. But if we can't get it in case or in order late in the year when it gets cold, we'll take it down and keep it on the stick and put it on scaffold wagons. So we don't, damage the leaves because it's so crunchy. You got to be easy with it. And so then it's in the stripping room, and we take it off the wagon, put it on tables, and that's where all the grading process begins. And then the tying of the wrapper leaves and things like that.
So grading, what's the grade?
So it depends on the plant. If you're just doing snuff, you'll have just three grades. So you have a buzzard lug, which is the bottom, like leaves that didn't hardly make anything, or, then you have a regular lug, and then you have leaf, which is a second on wrapper terms. And so with our wrapper, we do the buzzard lug, leaf, which is a second, and then wrapper leaf. So what you usually do is go through, first guy will strip off the lugs, second guy will strip off the leaf, and then you have somebody grading that will look at every single leaf that's left and under light and, judge if it's a wrapper leaf or not. So they're looking at color, holes, spots, anything like that.
So can there be any holes in the leaves?
You can get away with a little bit if it's on the end, like, on
around
the
edge.
Yeah, you can get away with just a little bit, but not much at all.
Yeah.
So and so on the wrapper grades, there's several different grades, and it goes by price, and that's kind of like where they'll grade your wrapper. So some guys will pick more get a lower price, but they're making up for it in pounds.
Right.
Which that's a way to do it. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather try to get number one wrapper top price and, make as much of that as I can.
Because the wrapper is the premium.
Yeah, it's a premium. It's significantly higher than snuff.
Okay, I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but so when you're doing that, you've got to be really careful because the leaves are dry at that point.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I jumped ahead as well. At that point, when it's on the wagon, the leaves will be dry. But what we do is we'll take plastic and cover up that, or we'll spray it with water, cover it up, and then it'll come in order.
Okay, and that makes it a little more pliable.
Yeah,
so you can do
it makes it pliable. Then when you get it on the table, we have a steamer system that steams it, and then that way it's like a rubber glove. You can just flip through there and look through all the leaves. Yeah.
So then is that the guys that are actually making cigars, when they buy those leaves, are they that way, or did they get dried out by the time?
They get dried out again. Well, they get packaged from ours. Right. So it's like the company that buys the leaf from us repackages it and sends it to them, and then they do it how they want to do it.
And so they're probably steaming them.
They're
though,
probably
to
steaming
make
them as well to get them how they need.
And that's a whole art form of itself.
That's a whole nother deal. That, like, thinking about the life of a tobacco leaf, like it gets touched so many times. It's crazy on the wrapper side. So, like, yeah, they'll put them in palomes and flip them palomes and age it for a year or whatever, and then they do it. So by the time we smoke this cigar right here, this son of a gun can be 3 years old. It's no telling,
Yeah,
And there's some cigars, like I said earlier, that are way old.
What about snuff? Is there much
snuff? I think it's aged 2 or 3 years.
Okay,
so it's aged as well. So you might be dipping snuff from 2, 3, 4 years ago, but they have it where it's still good, of course.
Yeah.
But like if you just let tobacco sit out, it's not gonna.
Right.
It'll get a lot more mild, and it just dries out.
So how do you go about selling the crop? So, for us, we have a commodity, right?
Yeah.
We got basis here. We can haul corn to the river. We can haul them to hog feeders close by.
Yeah.
They got a price.
We can haul it to the ethanol plant.
Yeah.
We can
We
haul
go
it to
off
the
the
corn
board,
sweetener plant.
Yeah.
You guys don't really have a board to go off
No.
of. So how's that all work?
So back in the day, pre-2007, which was the buyout, there was companies that bought tobacco like U.S. Tobacco and American Snuff, and they're the main companies that buy direct from a farmer, and they bought tobacco from off of your base, which was before the buyout. If you owned a farm, say if you had 50 acres and it was so much pasture, so much this, the government would give you 3 acres base. And back to the barns, that's usually why the barns were built that way. It's because if a farm had 3 acres of base, they built a 3-acre barn to hold their base.
Okay.
So that's why there's little barns and stuff like that. But anyways, so the companies would just come out and say, all right, yeah, we'll come out and buy this. And there was buyers that came out. So now, and the loose floors as well, that was like an auction. You just bring it up there and, they just bought it, which was hit or miss. You liable to do good on it or bad or whatever. So now all the pounds are contracted through these companies. So after the buyout, like I said, they came to us and said, how many pounds can you grow? So it's all controlled by the tobacco companies now. And so it's by the pound. Now you can raise tobacco uncontracted, but you're taking a major risk when you do that. Cause they could be like, well, we'll give you half of what we usually would. Cause
we really don't need it.
Yeah. Cause we don't need it. And so that's mainly where how it's bought is contracted by the pound. We still have buyers that come out and they'll come out and check in, before harvest and look at our tobacco and stuff. Yeah. And
you're still paid on your grade. Like they
still paid on the grade. It's still, the pay is still the same way, but just the way, your how your outlet is how it does it.
Yeah.
So that's mainly how it is by the pound contracted. And usually like it'll be a wrapper snuff contract, and it's all integrated, and wrapper's always been easier to get rid of than snuff. So if you've got a lot of good wrapper, they're going to mostly buy it, even if it's out of contract.
So you don't have to disclose this if you don't want, but if anybody wanted to support you, or as far as like buy the company, buy the snuff product that you grow for, who would they?
Well, really, in all honesty, like we sell to, a direct to American Snuff, which is, Grizzly, Kodiak, Levi Garrett. But like we sell to some middleman companies as well. And So really, I think all of our tobacco goes into so many different products like stokers and stuff like that. I would say uh, really any snuff will be supporting us, which I'm not saying
Yeah.
to be dipping or anything like that. 'Cause it's a nasty habit. I'd probably get some flack if I said, yeah, y'all need to start dipping again. Throw them Zins in the trash can. But no, that's it. It really is just a broad thing. You know, I think some of our tobacco goes to what is it? America's Best, which was Redman, Longhorn, Timberwolf. I think so. Just
Copenhagen, not.
I don't think any of our tobacco. It might, because they'll buy some from a middleman company every now and then, but we don't sell direct to U.S. tobacco. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We've just never been in with them. So
okay. So tell us a little bit about you growing up on the farm, because so you are one of how many kids?
Six
Number kids.
Two, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your childhood and about your dad got into raising tobacco before he started a family or during?
Okay,
or?
yeah, it was kind of like during. So I guess it was kind of before. We were actually looking at a picture the other day, and it was 1998, and it was a picture of him holding my brother, and on the picture or whatever, it says 1998. This is some TR Madole, which was the variety of tobacco, and it just said, and Jesse is on the way. So,
Okay.
like, yeah, it was during that. So, like I said, my dad raised tobacco, got in from the late 90s and going up. So, we're all born like right at 2 years apart. So 97, 99, 01, 03. And so in the meantime of raising tobacco, when he wasn't full time, he contracted and built not built houses, but did hardwood floors and trim and stuff like that, and then raised a tobacco crop. So he had all of us, right then within that span. And we were all homeschooled, which I always tell everybody. That's
Mother Mary.
Kind of what makes sense now, don't it? That's kind of why I'm a weirdo.
No, I would say, I'll just tell you right now that your mother must have done a hell of a job, because you're one of the most well-adjusted. I wouldn't think that you were homeschooled.
I have my nicks though that I'm like, oh, that was such a homeschool thing I just said. But yeah, no, she's
a hell of a woman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I said earlier, man, if it was me doing it, I'd go crazy. But yeah, so we were all homeschooled, and like I said, my sister was born in the floorboard of a Chevy Cheyenne truck on the way to the hospital. And so I don't think if that ain't redneck, crazy. I don't know what is.
That's crazy.
That's some Talladega Nights.
Yeah, she was
Ricky
born
Bobby
on Interstate
stuff.
24 on the way to the hospital. Yeah, so my dad had a time about every month one of us was going to the hospital to get stitches or something, because we was all running around just acting a fools all the time. So yeah, that's kind of how it was growing up.
Did you, growing up, like, what did you think that you wanted to do?
Man, growing up, I was like dead set. I wanted to raise tobacco since I was young. And like that's what I wanted to do. I remember, man, when I was little, we started out with a 140 Farmall, one row, and that's like was my dad's first tractor, and for a long time, that's all we had was a 140. We set tobacco with one row and cultivated one row at a time. But like I remember my dad started me out cultivating sweet corn, and I could not even touch the pedals hardly. And he just left me out there in the lowest gear, and I just keep on going in circles. And so like, I knew I always wanted to be around farming and having some equipment. But later on in high school, I went to Diesel College, Nashville Diesel College. And man, I thought I wanted to maybe work at a Case or John Deere dealership or something like that. And then, maybe do some tobacco on the side. And I ended up working for our local electric cooperative for several years, and then working nights. And then I started my tree business, like I said. And then, man, I helped my dad, kind of came back and started helping my dad drive a truck, hauling corn and stuff. And whenever he was shelling corn, we're usually harvesting tobacco. So he needed some help. So I took some time off from the tree business and helped him. And it kind of relit my fire on the farm and stuff. And so I don't work at the electric cooperative anymore, and I still run my tree service, and then kind of got my own thing going with raising some tobacco and stuff like that. So
what was the brainchild of starting your tree service?
Man, I always was good with a chainsaw, and I always like in the wintertime, I'd cut a ton of firewood, and I like doing it. And I was working at the electric cooperative, and so I was around bucket trucks all the time. And man, I'm like, man, we need a bucket truck. I can trim a few trees on the side, make me some quick money, and we can fix all the barns. Of course, my dad's like, yeah, that's a great idea. And so I bought the bucket truck, and man, people are naturally good at things, like, naturally good at football or singing or playing the guitar or whatever. I feel like I'm naturally good at cutting trees. I've always, had an eye for it. And so, man, it just took off. Like I started getting so much business and work, and man, I loved it. And I hated to go sit in the shop at night, inside, which it was a great job and I loved it. But like at the same time, I felt like I was just wasting time, like I could be doing so much more. And so that's kind of where that all came.
Well, and I mean, you've grown up on the outskirts of Nashville, like in Nashville, Tennessee, but not like when everybody thinks of Nashville now, they think of Broadway.
Yeah.
But you grew up there your whole life, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you've kind of seen the whole boom of Nashville.
Yeah,
now
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It is ridiculous.
And so a tree service business, I mean, you probably have so much business you can't even do it all.
It's crazy. I try to keep it to, I don't want to get overrun, so I try to keep it to a good workload. But like the crazy thing is there's like several tree services in Nashville, but like it's still so much work out there. And so it's crazy.
How has getting a bucket truck around the city of Nashville changed since you started?
Dude, I started in 2021 or something, right around 2020 or 2021 or whatever. And it's pretty nuts, man.
I bet
you get around
it is.
East Nashville and stuff, it's like, golly, this is tight. And these tall and skinnies are going up and they're building houses, and they'll just leave a giant walnut tree hanging right over it. And they'll be like, yeah, we need to get this tree cut down. Like, you could have done that before you built this tall and skinny.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly like changed so much. And, I graduated high school in 2017, and there for a while I was hell on wheels, of course. And like Broadway has changed so much since then. It is crazy. Like, it's honestly unbelievable how much it's changed.
It does have its advantages. So you're 27.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Well, like I said, like I told him, I'm like, you're kind of screwed because
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Last night at dinner, we were talking, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous because you get to enjoy the country life, being a farmer.
Yeah.
But then, shit, how far's downtown Nashville?
I can hop in my GMC and be on Broadway in like 31 and a half minutes. Like,
that is crazy.
Depending on traffic.
That's a good thing. And at times it can be a bad thing.
It can be a bad thing. Back in the day, it was a bad thing. Now I have a lot, a lot going on. So I'm not too nuts down there.
Yeah.
But if you are a single male and you're around Nashville, you are in a good place. So that's all. That's all I gotta say about that. But,
So you don't just do your guys' operation, your farming operation. You're not just tobacco, right?
Yeah.
You guys have some row crop going on.
Yeah, we have
talk about the whole operation.
So we have like this year, I think we're going to raise over 50 acres of tobacco. And then we run probably right around 400 acres ish of row crop. And like I said earlier, we have that lease ground, and our tenants needed money out of it, of course. And so that's where we started doing the row crop. And then we have control over our rotation, where we put our tobacco and beans and stuff like that. And it's a good thing too. Tobacco you get paid at the end of the year, just like any other farming. So November, December, January. And it's nice to shell wheat in June, get a little cash from that. And you shell corn in, September, first week of September up, get a little cash from that, to keep you going. So, and then, we have beans and stuff, but that's kind of the thing is we just have a small little row crop operation, 2 semis, no bins. We just haul it straight to the thing and get rid of it usually, which I think they'll hold it for a month for free, which is cool. But that's kind of how we do it. But the combine, of course, and the planter is just the bane of our existence of like breakdowns are crazy. And the bad part is like our stuff's not even junk. It's just like we have the most random breakdowns ever.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's with everybody, but my
Yep.
dad thinks it's just with him. Like, it's just me that does it. So I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure like everybody has these breakdowns. But-
Yeah.
And it's always at the worst time.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So you're working for that electrical company. Did you always kind of know that you wanted to work for yourself and kind of be an entrepreneur? Because I mean, essentially you're an entrepreneur and a farmer.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, like, I didn't know, but it's like I knew, but I didn't. Like, every job I ever had, I was never fulfilled. I could work there for a year and be like, I cannot do this any longer. Like, and you know, so it's like that was myself telling myself, hey, I don't think this is for you. And I always just had like an uncomfortable feeling after a year of like, I need to do something different, or, you know, and I've always tried to hustle ever since I was young. You know, whenever I was 10, we have a huge big thicket beside our house, and I would go and just pick gallons of wild blackberries and sell them. So I've always done things like that to make money, and I never liked to be broke. So, you know, that was kind of a big factor in that. And so I kind of knew, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And the tree service started and it kind of just took off. So that's what I went with. And I love it. I love the adrenaline of cutting trees and, you know, doing all this work like that and the challenge, and it keeps me going.
Yeah.
And so I haven't gotten sick of it yet. So I know this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, I just admire the hustle from all the things you've told us. And, you know, we talked about it last night a little bit. It's just getting harder and harder to farm, you know, no matter if you're in Tennessee or if you're in Iowa, it seems like the state of agriculture is just tough right now. To sustain, you know, 2 generations just on a farming operation, you got to do stuff. You got to diversify.
That's what I'm saying. And really what the tree service did was free me to have more time to work on the farm. Because for me, I genuinely enjoy it. I love it. I love after a long day during harvest when we're cutting tobacco and you're sunburnt, you're take a shower at night and you just know I've done everything I can do. That's a good feeling to me. And so I genuinely enjoy it. And I like putting out the fires and stuff like that. And so what that did was free me to you know, have more free time to help on the farm and help my dad, because I'm really the only one of the 6 kids that still is on the farm that can help. So, and you know, he got to where he needed some help. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'll help him a little bit. And that's kind of when I started getting back into it.
How do you balance the two? Because, you know, that for us, like, we're doing this media thing. We got the hogs, row crop, you know, we got stuff going on. Sometimes it's a pain. It's hard to get it all done.
So what I usually do is like, you know, when we're setting tobacco and stuff, we can set it, and then, you know, there's a period where we don't have to do much to it. So I'll try to just work in my tree work and knock a bunch of stuff out when I can do that on those dead periods. Or, you know, if it rains and the guys can't or I can't get in the field to do nothing, you know, I can go cut trees or do this or do that. So I just kind of work around kind of the rain and the schedule of growing. But pretty much like August, September, when we're cutting, I kind of take a little break. It's like my vacation from tree work, but it's not a vacation at all. And so that's kind of how I balance that. And then we get into the wintertime, once everything's harvest, it seems like my business jumps a lot from like October 15th to Thanksgiving. So I'll do a ton of work through then. And then usually from Thanksgiving to December 15th, I'll just go ahead and shut down until probably the end of January. And then I waste all my time duck hunting. So that's how we do that. Duck hunting.
It's
and deer
all
hunting.
about priorities.
Yeah, the priorities are really there, as you can see.
Yeah.
And like I said last night, if I would just like quit hunting so much and actually work on some of my equipment, I'd probably be way farther ahead. But, you know, that's kind of not where it happens.
So ducks.
Yeah.
You deer hunt also?
Oh, yeah.
Or is deer hunting, is it hunting or is it just pest control?
It's a little bit of both. I like to kill a big buck every year, but deer hunting is leisurely to me. So it's not like go, go, go. So I like to kill a big buck every year. And then we definitely have to do some pest control, because our fields, like I said last night, are not like y'all's fields where there's 100 acres. We're farming 20 acres here, 10 acres here. And around that 10 acres is woods, and the deer just come out of there, and
It's their salad bar.
10 or 15 deer, like a herd of cows, just going through beans and stuff. So, yeah, we have to take several every year. And we got a lot of families that, you know, we donate them to or whatever, and then what we don't eat. And then we actually make like deer breakfast sausage out of them and a smokehouse. That's super good. And so nothing goes to waste, of course. But yeah, we definitely have to have some crazy pest control.
So you're killing deer, duck hunting, turkeys,
turkey hunting big time. Yeah,
big turkey hunting.
Yeah, I'm big into turkey hunting for like the first 2 weeks, and I kind of like, okay, shit's ramping up. Like we need to get busy.
Yeah.
So like this year, I killed a turkey and took some of my friends, and they killed some on some of our places. And then usually it's all gas, no brakes until September 1st, dove season. We always have some really good dove hunts, which that's probably honestly my favorite because the camaraderie of all my friends and neighbors come.
Yeah.
We cook out and grill out and stuff like that. So the dove hunt is like one of my favorite things. And so we'll usually have 2 dove hunts.
That's something you just made me think when you talked about, your friends and neighbors. So around here, when I grew up, the average farm around here was probably 240 to 400 acres. So if you drove up the road here, there was a farmstead every so often. And the bus was full with kids going to school. And today, if you do go up that road, there's not very many kids out here. It's pretty, and that community is, I won't say it's gone, but it's a lot different. Like the group of farmers that I would say are in our community is not very big, and you have to go a pretty big area to have that. And how is it down there as far as people involved in ag? Like what would you say where you are average size as far as a row crop thing?
Man, dude, it's hard to say. I mean, I feel like we're pretty average on 300 or 400 acres. Now, there's some guys that have a bunch of lease ground north of us in Kentucky and stuff like that. There's some bigger farms out that way, Robertson County and stuff. But like in our general Cheatham County area, man, it's probably about the same, 300 or 400 acres. And some guys have a little bit less and they work a job, and just do that on the side. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, like on a tobacco operation, I mean, man, I'd say the average is probably we're probably close to average, maybe a little bit above average in our area. Now there's some guys in Robertson County and like I said, in Kentucky that raise a lot more dark tobacco, but that's kind of around us now. Like the biggest farmer in our area probably raises 80 or 90 acres of tobacco.
Okay.
So, it's kind of right in there, but the row crop, there's not really many people that raise thousands of acres around us.
Yeah.
So
what's the mood as far as when you talk to your neighbors? What's the outlook? Do they feel like it's getting better or getting harder?
It's definitely like, it's not like, it's not too down, but like everybody knows it's getting harder. So you just have to be more strategic and cut more cost and do whatever you need to do to save money is the biggest thing.
Is in your situation, having a side hustle, having an off farm, is that pretty common?
Yeah, it's common. One of my good buddies, he works a full-time job and he still raises 22 acres of tobacco. Now it works him to death every year. I mean, he works all the time. But it's fairly common. Not as common as it used to be, like I said. With tobacco, you need to have quite a bit to be able to have a crew, to keep a crew busy.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to do it like that, like it used to be. Now, back in the day, when everybody had their base, say your neighbor down here had 3 acres, you have 4 or 5 acres, and it could be 5 different farms with a combined 50 acres,
and they'd all go together.
Helped everybody out, and that's how it used to be. And I caught the very tail end of that when I was little. I didn't get to work in it, but like, I remembered those days whenever I was really little. So it's kind of hard now to raise tobacco and still keep a job.
I got to tell you. You talk about nostalgia. Right now, this smells like walking in to Freshwater's Feed and Grain in Washington, Iowa. So if Kim Robertson is listening, this is like all I need is Delmer Romine to come around the corner with a cigar hanging out of his mouth because it's taking me back.
I know. I probably, that's what one of my buddies, I had that jar of moonshine yesterday and he goes, dude, you look like you just come straight out of Hazard County, like Dukes of Hazzard. I'm like, dude, I just wear overalls, like get over it,
Yeah. I think it's awesome. That's your look, man. That's your look.
I hate to have plumber's crack, so I never have that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one thing you can
You're
say.
covered. You're good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, this is pretty nostalgic, dude. This place is awesome. Like, I want to build this in my backyard.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
appreciate it, man. It's come a long ways. Talk about labor? You know, you had crews, so you probably have a crew for the tree service business, right?
Yeah, it's
and
separate entity.
and crew for the farm.
Yeah, so we have H2A labor that comes in every year, and we've had them for 13. This will be 13 or 14 years now. And man, our guys are top notch. Like, they're awesome. Like, zero complaints. Our head guy, Ricardo, man, he is into it. He's the one that grades. They have 2 graders. And so he is like, he is so smart too. Like, we'll have all the tobacco loaded up and he'll say, this is 14,000 pounds of tobacco here. And it'll be 13,950. Like, it'll be so close. We have some really good help. And if it wasn't for that, we could not do what we do. Like, hiring help, just normal, is not, the days of that are over.
Everybody in ag, I mean, that's probably one of the biggest struggles is getting good quality labor. And I mean, the guys, I mean, there's a farmer over in our neck of the woods that, I mean, he farms a lot of acres, has hogs, all the things. He's got a lot of South Africans, same thing.
On the H2A deal?
Yep.
Yeah.
And because they're hustling, man, and you got to.
Yeah. It's, man, in my lifetime, since we've been raising tobacco, I caught the tail end of the high school boys working in it.
Yep.
In my lifetime, we've had a lot of schoolboys come in and last one day and never come back.
Yep.
But there has been, I think, 3. My friend Michael, he hung with us for 2 summers when he was in high school, and he was as thin as a rail. But dude, he hung in there. He would drink 2 Cokes at break time and be good. And then there's 2 other boys, Bradley and Tyler Brown. They helped us for several years, but they had their own 10 acres of tobacco. So what we would do is when we were caught up on ours, we would just go help them. So they were already weathered for it, and they were good help. Other than that, anybody else that come in usually lasts 1 or 2 days, and they'd be gone. They never come back.
Our society has gotten very soft. I mean, there's just not, and there's so many jobs. There's just jobs that people, they don't want to do stuff like that. I had a conversation last night when we were at dinner at the restaurant we were at with the owner of that restaurant, and she was telling me that basically they just started being open for dinner, open at night. Traditionally they've been open for lunch, but they're struggling because they can't keep labor. And I told her this story when I was working off farm. On the hog side, the company that I worked with, we had a signing bonus for anybody that we hired to work in the sow units. And I can't remember exactly what it was. I want to say it was like, if you started working there and you made it 90 days, I think we paid, it was either a $1,500 or a $3,000 bonus. We never paid that one time.
Really?
Nope, we never had anybody. And so, I mean, just about all their workforce is H2A.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have that, they couldn't operate.
Yeah.
Because they had plenty of people that would come apply, and literally it was the same way.
Yeah.
They'd work there 2 days, they'd work there a week, they'd work there 2 weeks.
Yep.
Done.
And that's the thing too. Like, people say, well, you're probably slave driving. No. We're very adamant, like, you need a break, go get you some water. It's hot. We know it's hot.
Yep.
But dude, it's just hard, grimy
Yeah.
work. But I've always said this, like, if you can make it in a harvest of tobacco, you're a grown ass man. Like,
Yep.
it's some hard work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I still try to do as much as I can, because you'll be in the best shape of your life after you get done with that. But, man, and that's the crazy thing. It's like how it used to be. Everybody would just help everybody, and that's just how it was. And now, it's just hard to get anybody to do anything.
So, by being around the farming operation, seeing your dad kind of start that from scratch, and being in the business and helping him, and then starting your own business, you've probably learned some lessons along the way in business. What are some of the top lessons that you've learned being a business owner and managing employees and doing what you're doing?
Yeah. Well, staying ahead of the game is the biggest thing I've learned in farming and owning your own business. If if you know a problem is arising, whether that be with equipment or, anything, try to nip it in the bud and don't let it go on. That's one of the biggest things. And then just trying to show up when you say you're going to show up. And that's some things I struggle because, I get busy and forget. Like if I got to go bid a job or something like that, I'd be like, oh, shoot, I forgot to go see so-and-so, or I forgot to text so-and-so back. But trying to do what you say you're going to do to the fullest extent is a big thing. Your word is all you have at the end of the day. So, showing up when you're supposed to, and if not, letting people know what's going on in communication. That's the biggest thing in business. But in ag, man, just having faith, like that's the biggest thing. If you don't have faith and you're a farmer, you're in bad shape, buddy. Because
you're not gonna make it.
You're putting a plant in the ground and you're hoping that it's going to rain, and you're hoping the fertilizer is going to work, and you're hoping you don't get a hailstorm that beats the leaves off the plants. And so, a lot of faith and a lot of prayer is the biggest thing.
Yeah,
and that's with anything, but especially ag, and y'all know how that is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just not, if it doesn't rain, it's just not God's will. I mean, there's been many a times, and I don't know if God is just taunting us sometime or like what's going on, but we'll be irrigating. It'll be late in the afternoon at night, and you'll see a huge thunderstorm blowing up, and it'll just go right north of you or south of you. You're like, golly, why couldn't that just come right through here so we don't have to do this anymore?
Yeah.
But having faith and just showing up when you say you're going to show up, and just trying to stay ahead of problems is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That makes any sense.
No, that makes total
100%.
sense. Putting out fires and staying true to your word. Your word's all you got.
Yeah.
Surrendering to God's path. I mean, God's got a plan, man.
And trying to keep your temper down is the biggest thing. I'm sure y'all have to deal with that too. But, when stuff breaks and things go wrong, you just have to try to, which I struggle with that, I just have to try to keep your cool at all times.
Yeah.
Sawyer's thing he struggles with is elder abuse.
Elder abuse. Physical or
mostly mental, but
mental.
Physical too.
Yeah, sometimes I just gotta get my words out. Yeah.
Yeah. Knock 3 times if you have a problem.
Yeah. So something that we learned last night is you're a pretty well connected guy. You got a lot of good people in Nashville. What do a lot of them understand what you do?
Yeah. So some of my friends, man, I got a lot of like writer friends, and some of my best friends are songwriters and stuff. And so man, they come out to the dove hunts and stuff like that, and we hang out at the coffee shop and things. Like they think it's so cool that a lot of them aren't from around here, and some of them are from a farming background, but didn't farm. So they think it's cool. Like they'll come hang out at the farm and stuff like that. And while we're working on trucks or hunting and stuff. So yeah, they all think it's cool. And like I said, whenever they all have, riders rounds or something, I'll show up and come. They think it's just cool that I just show up wearing overalls and they think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But so, and then, if they ever need any tree work, I've gotten a ton of business from them because of course they know somebody in Nashville that needs this or that. So
yeah,
that's the biggest thing.
That's awesome, man.
It's pretty sweet. I mean, I'm overly blessed in every aspect of life, like with my friends, family, how I grew up, and back in the day when I was growing up, I didn't think nothing of it. But now I'm like, man, I am way in good shape.
Grounded,
very grounded. Yeah. That's the right word.
And you've built quite a following on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's how we discovered you,
Yeah.
Is through that. Because showing the process of the tobacco is so freaking cool. And it's an art form. And just watching the videos you make, you can just can see it and sense that.
Uh-huh.
What prompted you to pick up the camera and do that?
Man, I guess it was last year. And I was dating a girl, and I was being good, and I'd come home, but I'd get bored at night. So I wasn't going out or do anything crazy, which I still don't do nothing crazy. But now I'm like, man, I'm gonna film us building fires in a barn and try to chop it up and just for fun because I was bored. And man, I made that video, and I think it's up to almost 2 million views, and it just blew up. And I was scared at first. I'm like, dang, what's my dad gonna think about this? And he's seen it, and he my mom said, your dad just seen your TikTok. I was like, oh shoot. He goes, he thinks it's awesome. I'm like, hell yeah. So man, I made that first video, and then I just started kind of making them, but I was just off the hip making them.
Yep.
And so yeah, I guess I've gained kind of a following in the tobacco industry on that, which a lot of people that dip snuff don't even know where their tobacco comes from, or
Right.
smoke cigars and don't even know how it's done. So I think it's cool to educate people on that. I have gotten a ton of hate though, like, why would you grow this cancer or stuff
yeah.
like that? You
Oh.
know, why don't you grow something else, or like, you know. But other than that, it's been great. It's cool. I like, you know, educating people on where stuff comes from. And
Yeah,
things
man,
like
it's
that.
it's badass. I'll just tell you, it's badass,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have haters no matter what. I mean, shit, we raise hogs. We get hate all the time
Yeah.
about how we raise hogs
Oh,
and
yeah.
podcasts, you know, whatever. So just I say keep going with it, man,
Yeah.
because it's awesome. And last night we talked about this too. I mean, and you've kind of you brought this up, but you're a well connected guy in Nashville. You're building this following. When the hell are we gonna get a direct to consumer cigar?
So like that's kind of in the works, like we talked about last night. And it's just really hard with government regulation to just, you know, make a cigar. You can't just make cigars and sell them. So we've experimented with that in the past, and I think, you know, here in the next few years, definitely that's something I would love to pursue. It's just very time consuming and very tedious on how you have to do it to make it right, you know. But yeah, definitely here before too long, I would like to get something going with that. We've already kind of started that process and, you know, made some cigars just for us and kind of experimenting with that. So hopefully in the next 2-3 years or something like that, we can get something going. I
Man,
think it'd be great.
it would
I
be
think it'd fun.
badass. and
Well-
it would be the official cigar of Barn Talk. I can tell you that right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and you can eliminate all your haters because my understanding is if you make them, they'll be organic.
Yeah. Well,
So, I
that's
mean,
something we've dabbled with. Is some organic. Yeah.
If it's organic, I mean, that's basically like being blessed by a rabbi. You won't get it. There's no carcinogens in it at that point. I mean,
Zero
it's,
carcinogens.
yeah, I mean, it's pure.
Yeah.
Pure, right?
It's like rubbing down. It's like when we go in there and we rub those pigs down with butter.
Yeah.
You know,
Same thing.
It just washes away the sin.
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And everybody gets behind it.
Well, I'll tell you this. Last year, we had a tobacco patch that was close to the road. We were irrigating it, and we pulled the irrigation gun out. And I was standing there looking at it, and I'm like, man, heck yeah, this is going good. And this lady just drives by, and she just yells at me, F tobacco, you cancer grower. Like right on this road. I'm like, man, golly. I'm just sitting here looking at my irrigation system.
She might need to stop and get a donut or something.
She sounds like she needs a cigarette.
Yeah.
You know? That's what she sounds like.
Okay. What is that comedian's name that you have probably seen this clip, but and I feel terrible because I can't remember what his name is, but he does such an excellent job. He's a little older than you guys, but he talks about how that this generation really needs cigarettes. And his example was, he's like, you know, when I was growing up, if you pulled up to the gas station and there was a guy standing outside just smoking a cigarette, one right after another, just pacing, that was therapy. That was therapy. He was working some shit out. Today we don't have that. And he had so many good examples of, you know, like going to a family reunion, and rather than people getting in a fight, there'd be two separate people standing at opposite corners of the porch just smoking cigarettes, one after another, because they're doing that rather than saying what they really thought about the other person.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I 1000% agree with that, but hey, man, that probably eliminated a lot of problems.
It's a great bit.
Yeah.
I can't remember who the guy is, but it's so good.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, I don't know. It's funny because you said this last night, and it's so true. You said that, you know, cigarettes aren't cool, but
people that
certain
smoke are
people
cool.
smoking,
Yeah.
they're cool.
Cigarettes are not cool, but people that smoke are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, it's just like cigarettes have gotten a bad rap,
Yeah.
but a cigar lounge, somebody smoking a cigar,
No one bats an eye.
that's classy.
Yeah. It is.
So-
And, you know, and that's my thing. I never was a huge cigarette fan. Of course,
Yeah.
everybody does this. Well, a lot of people do this. You've had 9 or 10 beers, you're going to smoke a Marlboro Light. You
Yep.
know, everybody craves that. But like, I never could just smoke cigarettes. I used to dip tobacco, and like I told y'all, I quit dipping tobacco. I dipped for 5 or 6, 7 years or whatever. Ever since I was like 16. I have a funny story about that too. I need to tell. But so I quit for 2 years, and I walked in the liquor store one day. I'm like, I'm gonna try a cigar. And ever since then, I got pretty hooked on cigars. So now, unfortunately, like I said, I smoke like 6 or 7 cigars a day. So I've just traded one habit for another,
Yep.
you know, but I started dipping, you know, whenever I was 14, 15 years old, and I would hide it from my mom and dad. And so I had some like Skull Mint, and it's a U.S. tobacco product.
Yep.
And so my mom found it one morning. She's like, I'm going to let your dad handle this. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm screwed. So dad's always, this was in the spring, so dad's always like, hey, come help me move this tractor to this farmer. He said, come with me. We're going to go pick up this tractor. I'm like, oh, my God, this is bad. So we have a long driveway, and he didn't say a word. We get to the end of the driveway, get off the field. He goes, Skull, are you kidding me? I'm like, I look at him like this, and he's like, if you're going to dip something, you at least need to dip something we sell to. He said, I better not catch you with Skull again. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is crazy. So we went through the summer, and I took his advice, which I'm not condoning dipping at a young age at all. I was a dumbass. But so I started dipping Grizzly straight, and my mom caught me again. She goes, yep, I'm going to let your dad handle it again. And we're down at the shop. He's like, man, you really shouldn't be dipping, but at least you're dipping something we made.
Yeah, at least you got good taste.
I told my friends about that. My friends thought that was the coolest. Like, I was the coolest guy ever whenever that happened. So, yeah.
Do you mind throwing me the lighter? I think.
Yeah, dude. Hang on. Let me hit it one more time. Yeah, we got to keep these things lit.
I wanted to ask you, since we were on the Nashville topic, you got a good Nashville story of going out, like that was memorable or cool, or somebody you met that was worth sharing?
Man, not right offhand, man, because every Nashville story, unfortunately, just about ends the same. You go downtown, you spend too much money, you drink too much, and you stay out too late. That's kind of the cycle. Man, I tell you, one of my favorite Nashville stories though is it was a Thursday. And there's a Lou Casey store, like the boots, you know, the high-end boots. Larry Fleet was playing down there. I don't know if y'all know who Larry Fleet is. I'm a big Larry Fleet fan. He sings the Where I Found God song. Great song. Awesome guy. And so like I'm like, I got some of my buddies together. I'm like, we need to go down there. Like, it's going to be so cool. And dude, we were like from me to you away. And this was back probably 5-6 years ago, and I wasn't hanging out with too many songwriter people, so I was like starstruck. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Larry Fleet. We got a picture with him and stuff, but like that ended at like 5 o'clock. So we were just so high on life. We just went on a tear and went on every bar in Nashville. So like that was one of probably the most memorable moments. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a good one. But that ended at like 1 o'clock in the morning and started at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And I don't have many nights like that anymore, but sometimes it happens. So
well, and you know, it's different when that's kind of your hometown.
Yeah.
You kind of get, I guess, numb to it.
Yeah.
I bet you don't really get starstruck anymore.
No,
because
you'll be in Nashville. It's just, you never know who you're going to see, you know, like you could be at Losers or see Theo Vaughn or Johnny Manziel or somebody walk by, you know, and it's just like, oh, that's them. And, you know, they're just normal people too. I mean, just like me, which I'm a little bit not normal. I'm sitting there in Losers wearing overalls. So that's the kind of thing. But being around Nashville too is like, if you want to hang out, you figure out the places you want to go and not like where just the tourist attractions are. So,
yeah, you don't go to all the country music star bars.
No, like once every 3 months we'll get on a tear and go downtown. But like I like I told y'all, the Nashville Palace is cool. They have all that line dance and stuff, which I cannot dance to save my life. I'm more of a people watcher kind of guy.
Yep.
So that, you know, Losers is cool because that's where all my friends usually hang out and stuff like that. And then Skinny Dennis, it's like an old timey,
dive bar.
Country, like a dive bar that like they play old school 90s country and old stuff, which it's taken over by the East Nashville hippies most of the time. So you got to deal with them.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's a cool place. So not as much Broadway anymore. I'm more on the outskirts is where I hang out.
Well, let me ask you something about, you know, you're a young guy. You think you'll find a woman hanging out in Nashville that wants to raise 6 kids and homeschool them for you out there in the country?
Probably not. I probably need to find a Mennonite to help me out with that or something like that. Which, going back now, I told my mom was hounding me that day. She's like, you need to have kids. She's, I'm getting old. And I'm like, Mom, I do not want 6 kids. Like, that is crazy. Like, you know. But like I said, growing up, it was just like, it wasn't nothing to it to me. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got a big family. And I just know that I knew that the kids with just, you know, a 4-person family, they were getting an Xbox and stuff. I'm like, I don't have no X. We don't even have a TV.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and they're getting Legos and stuff. And I'm at a yard sale picking through a Lego bucket. You know, that was kind of the only difference, that I was jealous of having, you know, I was jealous of them for that. But in hindsight, I'm very glad that it ended up like it did, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what's next?
What's next?
What are you working? Where's this end?
Man, that's my thing. I have a big problem with being content.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that just comes with young age. So like, I would just love to keep my tree business how it's going. I love doing the work. And of course, you know, I would like to scale the tobacco operation. And I know that the snuff and, you know, the mainstream tobacco business is not what it used to be. You know, you have the Zens and the vaping and stuff like that. But like, I just love it. Like every aspect, especially the curing process, man, it's just a different kind of feel. And anything in agriculture, people don't realize unless you do it. When you grow a plant from a seed that's the second smallest seed in the world to a finished product and you're sitting there selling it at the company, it's a great feeling, especially when you have a good, successful year. So I would like to keep on growing, and maybe, you know, my dad's getting older. I'd like to take over some of his operation and, you know, just maybe upgrade that. And then, like I said, I would love to maybe do something on my own, or direct to consumer kind of thing. I know that's going to be a totally different ballgame. It's going to take a ton of work. So I would like to slowly get into that and not just jump head first into it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And, you know,
keep the social media thing going too.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, you just keep lighting those fires and showing that dog off.
Dude,
you know,
yeah, I got two. I got a Nova Scotia duck talking retriever and a Boykin Spaniel. The Boykin was bad, so I sent him to training. But the little dog, man, yeah, they love it. But yeah, that's kind of the thing. You know, I want to keep my social media going and maybe do better videos and stuff like that. That's kind of a bigger goal with that. I don't care about making money on social media right now. Like I haven't made anything, you know, but I just thoroughly enjoy making the videos and just growing a cool following, you know, that likes the things I do.
Yeah.
That's kind of my goal with that right now. Everybody's saying do YouTube, but man, that's something I don't know if I'm into or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's talk about machinery a little bit, because you like old trucks, you like old tractors,
yes,
all the things.
Essentially, I'm a hoarder.
Yeah,
So.
The cost of new equipment is just unbelievable, and service is one of those things that all farmers feel like is getting worse and worse as time goes on.
Yes.
I mean, what's been your experience when you got to call the guy out to fix something? I mean,
so like that is last result. And sometimes though, like I went through diesel college, so I have a good understanding of how things work. And you know, sometimes you need to just swallow your pride and like call the case dealership. Because a lot of times you'll get into something trying to fix it and screw up 3 other things trying to fix the one thing. That's what we get into. But with these older tractors, we have, you know, we have like a 2150 John Deere, little 50 horsepower that we cultivate with. And like the other day, it was smoking and running like hell. And man, I just tested the injectors on it, needed an injector, popped an injector in there. That was it, you know. But these newer ones, man, it's like cutting teeth trying to get my dad to, you know, call somebody out there to fix them. And so like, he's like, what do you think? I'm like, Dad, I don't know. And you can spend a whole day messing with that stuff and still not fix it, especially these newer tractors, which we have a 150 Maxim. I think it's a 2017 model. And then we have a newer 90C, a 75C, and then a 70A, which I absolutely despise. I hate that tractor. But so I think it's good when it's under warranty. You know, you spend the money and, you know, they come out and fix it, of course, but it's just a ton. So once it gets out of warranty is when it gets to a gray area of like, what do we need to do with it? But yeah, like I said the other day, we were trying to plant and the planter wouldn't spin around, and we messed with it for a little bit. And then these 2 boys come up there from the tractor or from the dealership and they just grenaded the inside. I was like, oh my God, this thing's never going to run again. But they did. They got it fixed. I was impressed, man. But I had little faith, but they got it fixed. But man, and that's the service thing is the biggest thing. We deal mostly with case stuff. We have some older John Deere stuff, but most of our stuff's red. And man, they treat us pretty good up there at our dealership. have a salesman, Terry Barton. He's great, and of course he's great. He's always trying to sell us stuff.
Yep.
But you know,
Yep.
And their service is good. And like I told y'all last night, we have a 2377 case combine. It's clean as a whip. And there's a guy that comes out and works on it from the dealership that knows it inside and out, and he's great, Marvin. So, you know, it's kind of a pick your poison thing. I looked at all of our equipment is Kubota. Looked at some Kubota tractors the other day that were pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. So I hate our old little redheaded stepchild 70A, and I'm like, Dad, maybe we should like go for a Kubota next. But then we'll have a rainbow of tractors, and I'm like, ugh.
I think that's the more norm anymore.
Yeah, it is.
I think the number of people that are 100% brand loyal, I think that number is getting fewer because part of it is cost, part of it is, you know, what can I buy horsepower for?
Yeah.
Brand for brand, but then the other part is service. You know, there's people out there. I would say that there are some brands out there that traditionally have had amazing service, both from distance to the dealer and then the quality people to the dealer. And that has probably, it isn't as good as it used to be. And so you have, and we're also in the time where mobile service is a lot more common than it used to be, to where it's, if you're going to have somebody come to you, then it doesn't really matter how far they're coming. And if the service is better and the price is better,
jump on it.
Yeah.
That's how, man, we were like die hard international Chevrolet trucks for forever. Now, I got 2 Fords. We got 2 or 3 John Deeres. We got some red tractors and everything. And for me too, I'm always about what's the best deal.
Yeah.
You know? And that's in like the used things, but mainly, like I said, our case dealership treats us good. And I'm not saying the John Deere guys are bad. We've just always had a relationship with them, and they've worked with us when we needed help and stuff like that. But I think you're right, man. It's so hard now, you know.
Well, your margins, you know, the farmer's margin is the one getting squeezed. So it really comes down to, at the end of the day, what's that cost? What's that cost ownership, and what's it cost per acre to get across that field? And whoever fits that bill may be the route you got to go.
Yep. Well, that's like I think too. I think, you know, older equipment might be good for you depending on how nifty you are at fixing it yourself. That's a big thing. I think if you're a person that has a lot of mechanical knowledge and you can run old equipment, I'd say run the hell out of that old 4055 John Deere. That's what we got, one of those, and you know, or something older. But if you don't have that knowledge, you might want to run a newer tractor that stays under warranty, and, you know, if you can afford to trade and stuff like that, which we have a mixture of both. So, but here lately, man, I like running an older tractor. I don't know. My dad is just absolutely pro cab. He goes, man, a cab tractor's the way to go, you know. And with us, we don't have no giant, huge quad tracks or nothing like that. So, but like when we started, we had that 140 Farmall. We had we upgraded to a Super C, which it had cultivators on it. We could do 2 rows at a time. So we were shitting in high cotton then. And then our first setter rig, what we pulled our setter to plant the tobacco was that we had a M Farmall, and we pulled that 2-row setter. And my dad made these row markers because it was a tricycle, and you could follow that row marker, and it was like checkerboarded straight. And that was the setting rig, and it was cool because at the end of the row, you could turn so sharp and get right back in the row easy. So he grew up, or we started out, I act like it's so long ago. I mean, this wasn't not that long ago, like 07, all the way up to about 2008, we set with an M Farmall.
Okay.
And so, you know, he was in that era. So now he's gotten into a cab, and he's like, man, I love that. I'm not buying another tractor without a cab on it, blah, blah, blah. So, but like me, I like to see what's going on and be not obstructed, you know. And I say that, but then if I'm bush hogging, I'm like, hook it to that cab tractor. So,
right.
Square body trucks. So Dad's got a square body truck.
Yeah, I was out there gawking over your truck, by the way.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What you got? A couple square bodies?
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm a hoarder. I buy and sell a lot of them. It's kind of it's not really a side hustle. What it is
it's only a side hustle because if you didn't say it was a side hustle, it'd be an addiction.
That's a fact.
So instead, it's a side hustle.
And I actually make money on them most of the time.
Yeah.
So for a long time now, I've probably had collectively over like 200 vehicles, and I've just bought and sold them. And so like here recently, I had a 97 extended cab Chevrolet, clean as a pin. I just got rid of that not so long ago. It was a sad day. But like I have a 70 C10. I've had it since I was 14. And but like I haven't bought too many this year, but last year, man, I was flipping through the trucks. I had a 65 GMC. I went down to Huntsville, or not Huntsville, right on the line. I think Florence, or right over the line, a Tennessee line. I got that truck, and what I'll do is I'll drive them around for a little bit till I get sick of them and sell them. So, and usually the market in Nashville is so much better than like a rural area, you know, so you can go buy something in a rural area and bring it here and then, you know, make a little bit of money on it and have fun driving them around. And so, yeah, I've had a ton of square body trucks, but usually about once a year, and I haven't had this problem this year, I'll like get the hankering to buy like a Jeep and ride it around. Then I realized this Jeep sucks and then I'll get rid of it.
Gosh.
And so like last year I bought a 77 or 78 Golden Eagle, but it had the 304 V8 in it with the 3-speed. And that thing felt like you was on a roller skate with a small block Chevy. Like it was cool. I'm like, I drove it for a little bit. I'm like, yep, I need to get rid of this before something happens. And that's usually how it is. I'll keep a Jeep for a little bit and then get rid of it.
Everybody should have a Jeep at least once. And then I succumb. I always wanted one, and I bought a 2021. I bought a Gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
And the funnest thing about that was building it.
Yeah.
All the shit I put on it. Loved it. We drove it down to Jeep Beach down in Daytona.
Oh, nice.
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
And the transmission went out of it with 4,000 miles on it. And then the engine grenaded when it had 34,000 miles on
COVID
it.
truck.
What were you doing with that thing?
Nothing. It was just,
It sounds like
it was just, the ECU went out of it. I mean, it was nothing but.
It was a COVID truck.
It was a COVID truck.
All them new
Dude,
trucks,
you got a
man.
reject, man. That's rough.
But then, then I realized it was like, that's the thing about a Jeep is the funnest part is building it, like getting it, customizing it, doing all the shit to it. And then, you take it and you look at it, oh, that's badass. But the actual day-to-day driving around.
No.
And then nothing stays tight on it. It's just rough and
it sounds like you're in an airplane, a small airplane when you're driving it around. Yours probably wasn't like that. All mine are poverty wagons.
Yeah.
So like they weren't that tight like yours probably were.
It still was pretty. I bugged my wife that it was perfect for married couples because she could talk the entire time and I couldn't hear anything she was saying.
I've had that experience. I had a 02 TJ or whatever. It was a 5-speed V6, and me and my big friend Ryan, he's like 6'4", 300 pounds, just a brick shit house. We decided let's drive it down to Florida with no top and no doors. And I had like a little luggage rack, and we just had a pyramid of coolers on the back. So his girlfriend at the time and one of her friends rode in their 4Runner, and we drove that Jeep down there. Well, we took off at 3:00 in the morning, and I was wearing overalls with no shirt, and I drove that Jeep all the way down. So I get down to the beach, and I'm just roasted before my feet even touch the sand. Dude, it's so bad. And back then, I was like 300 pounds, so I was a lot bigger. So my man boobs would stick out the side of my overalls, so I had like a half sunburn across my nipples, dude. It was terrible.
Gosh.
It was terrible. Dude. I had to get lathered up with aloe right off the rip.
You probably should have thought that through just a little bit.
There was no critical thinking was there at that time. My frontal lobe was non-existent at the time. It was so bad. And what was funny is we got behind the semi on one of them back roads in Alabama, and we went to pass it. And, we got coolers. I'm 300 pounds. He's a brick shit house. We got stuff in the back. I got to go past this truck. Dude, there's a car coming. And he's like, come on, go. I said, I got her to the floor. Dude, we barely passed this truck, dude.
There's a lot of wind resistance
dude,
there.
It was bad. So then, I don't remember. I took the Jeep to Florida twice because I was dumb enough to do that. And then the second time we took it, we come back through and stopped in at Talladega. And so I had the Jeep at Talladega, and it was fun. It's fun to have a Jeep at the beach with the top off, but it is not worth the drive down there. Like if I ever get rich one day and have a beach house, I'm just going to buy a Jeep and just throw it down there and leave it. I think that's a good plan.
That's a good point.
I'm getting to the age I'm more refined. I think the next old vehicle that I'm looking to buy is like a 65 to 69 Lincoln Continental with the suicide doors.
I'm into that.
I really want one of them bad.
I've been wanting a big car like that for a while, like and then put like some Longhorns on the hood.
Oh yeah.
So it sits in the garage. You drive it like 3 times a year. That would be me. I think that would be sweet.
Yep.
Because most of them have like a pretty hot motor in them, you know.
Sure.
But they ride like a dream too. A friend of mine had one, and we took it to. He did just bought it. We took it to Nashville or whatever, and man, I was looking through the glove box, and there was an old John Michael Montgomery cassette. We popped that bad boy in, dude. It was awesome. I think it had like 30,000 miles on it.
You know, when I was younger, I graduated in '89, and so me and all my buddies, four of my buddies, we were motorheads, and I had a '73 Camaro, and my one buddy had a '72 Charger.
Oh yeah,
and my other one had a '67 Chevelle, and then another guy had a GTO, and a lot of fun. Loved those cars and all that, but honestly, we got the bright idea. Well, 2 of my friends got the bright idea. They didn't want to drive those cars in the winter. So they went to the Ford dealership and they bought a 74 Ford, what the heck was it? Their big boat car of the 70s. I can't remember what it was.
Like an LTD?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we honestly had more fun in that damn thing.
Dude, that's what I'm
You
saying.
could put 4 people, 4 wide front and back, and you didn't care what, you know. Our thing was you didn't want to go down this road. You didn't want to get a rock chip. You didn't want to do this. That thing, we took it off the end of a gravel road on a T. We didn't realize where we were, and we thought our lives, flashed before our eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And once we cleaned out her pants, she started right up. And we thought we got out of that okay. And then the next Saturday, we decided we should change the oil. And we went to take the drain plug out, and the bottom of the oil pan was smashed. And instead of holding 5 quarts, it only held 4. But it made it. And I think they bought that for maybe like $800. And for 2 winters or 3 winters, we drove that. And man, that was more fun than those muscle cars.
Man, I've had a lot of trucks like that, or vehicles. I had a 89 4Runner, and it was just a 2-wheel drive. But dude, that thing went anywhere. It was so much fun. There was a big terrace in one of our fields, and man, I can get enough speed and get like 5 foot of air.
Yeah.
And everybody says this, but I like really mean it. If 7 or 8 years ago, I had cameras around me at all times, I would be like, it would be like Jackass, like, or something like that. Like, I mean, like jumping stuff, or, if I had a crew like that, I would be like famous, like for all the crazy stuff we did.
Be either famous or in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, having a nice car is awesome, but having something that you just don't care about.
You gotta have a beater.
Yeah, you gotta have a beater.
Which, like right now, I think I literally have like 7 or 8 vehicles sitting at the house right now, and I got 2 new GMCs, a gas and a diesel, which they're both regular cabs, because for some odd reason I'm obsessed with regular cab trucks. I don't like extended cab or crew cab trucks. And but like, those 2 trucks just sit at the house, and I got a 2015 F350 I beat around in, and then I got another older F350 that I just run around in, and like I'd rather drive those trucks than my new ones. And 2, it's keeping the miles off the new ones. I'm like, man, I don't want to drive this thing out here. I might put miles on it,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fun to have a bunch of vehicles, but then I just looked at my insurance bill not too long ago. I'm like, dang, I need to get rid of some of these things. Like, golly. So,
let's switch gears a little bit. When you look at the future of ag, as a young guy, as a farmer, what worries you the most, or what's your biggest concern? Is it land prices? Is it input costs? Is it finding labor? What do you think?
Man, it's really, I think it's all those combined. Like it's a death by 1,000 cuts thing. Like all that combined, but like now it just takes a special kind of person to be able to do it. So like I said earlier with the equipment, you have to be a nifty person to be able to work on your own equipment and stuff. And, I think all those above are just a combined problem, and like I said, I didn't grow up in the 80s. My dad didn't farm in the 80s, so we haven't seen the bad. But I keep on thinking to myself, if we just weather the storm, eventually it's going to get better.
Mhm.
We can't keep on going like this for forever.
Yeah.
Especially, with grain. The grain is what's really struggling the most, And our tobacco, of course, it's, not like it used to be, but it's still profitable if you can manage like you should. And like I said, cut cost and just not really cut costs, but just be as frugal as you can and not live beyond your means. That's the biggest thing. So,
What about your dad he's a first generation farmer.
Yeah.
We get the question all the time on here from guys that might not be farmers, grew up on a farm family back in the day, want to get back into the farming, or somebody that wants to aspire to be a farmer.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any advice out there for guys, young hustlers that want to become farmers? Like, what would you do?
Man, if I wanted to farm today and I didn't have any connections, man, I definitely would not quit my day job, of course. And man, I would try to figure out some kind of niche, like a direct to consumer thing, like with vegetables or something like that. I think that's something I would like to get into eventually, is maybe doing some more produce or something like that. I think that would be cool.
How big are farmers markets in Nashville?
Big.
Huge.
There's a big farmers market deal because everybody from Nashville that lives in Nashville is not from Nashville, so they're all about fresh produce and stuff like that. So I think that's a big thing around us. I think people can do on a small scale that kind of thing, but like if you have some connections to ag and a farmer, man, try to learn from somebody who you want to be like. I think that's a big thing. So like that's kind of how my dad got going, is he learned from somebody that's done it their whole lives. And, he gathered that information, looked at another, hung out with some other bigger farmers that were more modern and just kind of mixed the two.
Yep.
And like, I think too, farming's in the gutter right now. Don't get me wrong. But if a young farmer was nifty and could buy equipment cheap and had some ground that they could lease at a decent price and not just astronomically through the roof, and could weather the storm of how it is now, I think it's not a bad time to get into it. Now, an older person might tell you different, but
Right.
around us, and like I said, you might not make just a killing living off of row cropping around us, but it's a good little side business, Then there's several people, that work a job and then have a side business that would be a good side business. And if you genuinely enjoy it as well, doesn't feel like a side business,
Mhm.
And with us too, with row crop, a lot of people with just that amount of acreage don't do their own spraying and stuff. So you can get like the local co-op to come out and spray it. And that takes a lot of the weight off of, your workload as well. So, we don't have a sprayer. We just contract out our spraying. We'll spray the initial burn down, and stuff like that on no-till ground. But like, so the co-op does the spraying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, and really you think you can go buy a planter. They're cheap right now. You can buy a decent tractor cheap. You can buy a 1680 International cheap. And if you're nifty and know how to work on that stuff, you can farm. I mean, I don't see why you couldn't. And you could buy a grain truck cheap. I mean,
I mean, the nice thing about being young in ag is all this ground's going to have to change hands. What is the average age of a farmer? Is what, 56 years old or something?
It's about my age.
Yeah, something like that. This ground's going to have to change hands. To go to somebody.
If it doesn't get sold, it's going to change hands. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And that's kind of what we're struggling with right now, is like, it's hard for somebody to keep ground when it's worth so much money, especially around our area, in Nashville and stuff. These farms are 90, 100 acres getting turned into a subdivision and people are making all kinds of money. Why would they keep on letting you rent it for, whatever? And that's the biggest enemy right now of farming in our area, and I get it, there's farmers that are old and want to retire, and that's how they retire, is they sell their place and sell their equipment, and they're set for life. And so I get it. It just sucks that it has to be like that. But, as me being as young as I am and, farming and still running a business, I would, in the near future, I want to buy, land and stuff like that. And I feel like farming can, help me financially on the land part, paying for some of it and stuff like that. But I'll definitely still have to run my own business to keep, bills paid and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
What about livestock? Is there guys that raise cattle in your area?
Yeah. With tobacco farming, especially, like I said, we raise 50 acres of tobacco and have like 400 acres of row crop or whatever. It's normally somebody doesn't just have 50 acres or 60 acres of tobacco. Usually they have something else. So like, a lot of guys have cows around us, Black Angus beef or whatever. And that's what they do with farming as well to kind of help rotate their ground too.
They're sitting pretty good right now.
They're all sitting good. Yeah. Like I said, I wish I had a bunch of cows right now, but at the same time, with my luck, I'd probably buy the most wildest cows in the country, and it'd be a rodeo.
They'd be
every
out.
day. Yeah, they'd be out. That's what Dad did say. I asked him one time. I was like, "Why don't we have any cows?" He goes, "Because we'll be out here cutting tobacco, trying to get shit done, and we'll be chasing cows around in the neighborhood, So that's just a whole nother thing to deal with too. I kind of like on the row crop and the tobacco aspect of like in the wintertime, you don't have to mess with it. You're just doing, which it never stops, of course, but you're fixing breakdowns that you've been putting off. Or what we do in the winter is we haul sawdust and slabs for our barns. Then that's a whole undertaking in its own, just getting all the stuff hauled. And that's another thing with cutting costs is we used to hire somebody to haul our slabs and dust, but it got, it's pretty expensive. So now I do that in the wintertime, and when nothing's going on. And after I'm done duck hunting, of course.
Yeah.
10-4.
Let's talk a little bit about hunting. What's a memorable hunt you got? Is there a memorable hunting story you got that sticks with you?
Dude, man, like
The next one.
always chasing that, man. I think my first deer I killed, man, was a big deal to me. Like, I don't know why, man. I guess I was just an emotional kid, man. I missed a deer and I was so mad at myself. But like in 07, there was a bad drought and all the deer got a blue tongue disease is what it's called. And it killed, like, we went from like in one field being 25 deer to like all we seen all year was a button buck, a mama, and a fawn. Like that was it. And so like I was pretty young then still. So I killed my first deer when I was 8 the next year. And we had been hunting all morning and I did not see a damn thing. We hadn't seen nothing. And Dad's like, well, we need to go through here and get a load of tobacco out of the barn for the guys that keep on stripping. So we were driving through the field and man, we crested this ridge and I looked behind us and these 3 does right there. I'm like, Dad, get the gun. Like, so we got out of the truck and slipped around the woods and slipped through there. And man, I was a bad shot because I got so nervous because there wasn't no deer. So when I seen a deer, I was like, oh my gosh, And man, I had a 243 short mag, a Browning A-bolt, and man, I leaned it on a fork of a tree, and I just knew, like, I just knew I was gonna miss. I was like, I can't miss, And man, I shot that deer and hit it right in the neck and dropped it dead. And dude, you would have thought I killed a 190-inch deer with a bow. Like I was flipping out, and man, I don't think I've ever been more excited than that. And then that following spring, probably 100 yards away from that, I killed my first turkey. So like my first year and first turkey were within 100 yards of each other.
It's your lucky spot.
It's my lucky spot, man. It's in this little draw and a perfect spot. And since then, I've killed a bunch of deer at that area.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of probably one of the most memorable hunts I've had.
What do you enjoy the most? Is it duck hunting? Is it turkey hunting?
Man,
is it deer?
I flip back and forth. The dove hunt's a big deal. Like I have the most enjoyment out of that because of the camaraderie and stuff. But actually hunting, like I think deer hunting is the most enjoyable. Like it's enjoyable and relaxing. And, I like chasing a trophy. And of course, we eat the meat and stuff. You can't eat the horns, but like usually what I'll do is I'll be around and I'll see a deer. I'll be like, man, I'm going to hunt that deer. And so I go after just one deer. Now, if another one that's similar slips up, he might get it. But,
Yeah.
I like to hunt a single deer and have the chase usually. And so I kind of flip-flop from that and duck hunting. Duck hunting is a lot of fun when you're killing ducks. But the last 2 duck seasons have been pretty rough. But I duck hunt a lot in Arkansas. So when I go duck hunting, it's like it's an endeavor. It's not like I can just like, oh, I think I'm gonna go deer hunt this afternoon. It's like, no, you're gonna be gone for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
So we duck hunt in the timber in Arkansas a lot. And it's a good time. It's fun because of the camaraderie and stuff. It's just so damn cold all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
What about barbecuing? Is barbecuing we haven't even talked about that.
Dude,
but
yeah, man.
So you got all these guys that you're kind of in the South. So like, do you have an offset? Do you use a Traeger? Are you a barbecue guy? Like, do you smoke meat?
Dude, here's what we do.
Okay.
And this is I just did it the other day. We have this pit and it's big enough we could put 2 whole hogs on. and it's split down the middle. So usually I just cook off one side because a whole hog is cool and all. Don't get me wrong, the nostalgia of it, but it's a lot of work and
It's
a lot of
work.
like, you know. So what I like to do is I'll do you know, ribs. I like my favorite thing here lately has been like little chicken wings, like normal ones, and smoking those. That's probably my favorite thing to do because it doesn't take long. It's easy.
Yeah.
Ribs, man, barbecue bologna. I wear that out. I cook like when we have our big dove hunts, man. I'll have a spread of just stuff like that. And like a couple weeks ago, whatever, we killed some turkeys, and I sliced wild turkey up and barbecued or smoked it for 2 or 3 hours. But mostly ribs and chickens is what I like to do. And, shoulders and stuff is cool, but I'm not a huge just pork eater anymore like I used to be. I like something a little bit more lean.
Yeah.
And I like doing that. And then I buy a half a cow every 6 months or so. And so I like to throw ribeyes on that smoker and smoke ribeyes. That's good too.
Oh, yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we do. But my dad and them, we've been barbecuing forever. But that pit, it has a door you open up, and I have hickory coals and cook with hickory, off a burn barrel and feed it coals. That's what I do. I think that's my favorite.
Okay, so you're shoveling, you're pre-burning it basically in that barrel,
getting it down to a coal,
and then putting that in the in the firebox of your pit.
Yeah, it's not really a firebox though. It's like the meat's up here on the grate, and it's underneath, and you're just
shoveling it in
and
there.
I got a thermometer. We put a piece of cardboard over the top of it, and I got a thermometer. Cook it 275, 300. Somewhere around there, depending on how long I have. And so I just sprinkle them across the bottom and just keep it at that temperature. And them hickory coals, man, it does good. That's what I like to do.
God damn.
So I usually like once a month we have a piece of property that goes down to our Sycamore Creek, which it's pretty big. So we have a rope swing and stuff, and we'll have, some get-togethers down there, and that's where the pit's at right now. So about once a month, usually I'll have a big cookout, and all my friends will come over and we'll swim in the creek or, do whatever. So that's what we usually do. That's
nice.
That's like the summer fun right there.
Nice.
Yeah. Old school tobacco and old school barbecue.
Yeah, and usually what we'll do is I'll poach some hickory slabs that are down at one of these slab piles, and I like I said, I'm spoiled in a lot of aspects, so I have all the equipment. I'll just throw one of them in my dump trailer and go dump it out down there and cut them into small pieces with a chainsaw.
And use that for
use that because the slabs are good because it's not like a full piece of wood, so it kind of burns and makes a coal quicker than if you were just had split hickory wood.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. And 4th of July, some neighbors up the road, man, they have like a 3-day barbecue fest, dude. I'll have one year, man, I ate so much meat, I literally had the meat sweats. Like, dude, like 4th of July, I shut down for a few days. I'm like, okay, yeah. Our big thing too is my dad, when he was in high school, worked for a fish place. And so, man, we have fish fries too. That's a big thing we have. So like, my brother, whenever his baby shower, this is thinking about it now, this is pretty damn redneck, but like his baby shower for when my oldest brother was born they had a big fish fry. So my older brother just had a child last year, and for her baby shower, we had a huge fish fry. And
all right, so what do you fry? You got
crappie.
Crappie's good.
Crappie's the best, I think.
What are you frying them in? Lard? Or peanut oil?
Batter it and then put it in oil is what we do.
Yeah,
my dad is the fish fry guy, and he makes like the best hush puppies of all time. Like they are so good. I can sit there. It's like a Texas Roadhouse roll. You can just sit there and just gorge yourself with them. So that's a big thing he likes doing is fish fries. And one of my friends, he's big into crappie fishing. He catches so many crappie that he doesn't know what to do with them. So he'll just give them to us, and then we just have big fish fries.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's another big party thing we do is barbecue and fish fries. So
was your mom a good cook?
She's a pretty good cook.
Yeah.
It's hard to cook I think she burned herself out on cooking. She's more of a baker. So when we were younger, man, she used to cook all kinds of bread and would make it from scratch. And that was her little side business there for a while, was she was making bread. She makes some banging pumpkin muffins. Like they're so good. I try to get her to make them all the time. She doesn't do it, but pumpkin muffins, bread. She makes like a raisin cinnamon bread that's so good. And but she makes it all from scratch. So that's kind of her claim to fame is that.
I think it probably is a challenge for you to stay svelte.
Yes, it definitely is, dude. Because, fish fries, barbecue, all this stuff. I have to the in-between time, I have to damn near starve myself to be able to do all that kind of stuff.
Well, cigars are the only way to stunt your appetite.
That's right, dude. Cigars and 4 shots of espresso over ice. That's the only way. So that, and then, I quit drinking beer. That was one of my big problems with it.
Yeah.
What would you drink? What beer were you
Dude,
drinking?
I was a Miller Lite guy. I know
Okay.
y'all are big Bush people. around
Well,
here.
Iowa Busch Light is the official beer of Iowa, but
I mean, I get it, but I like Busch Light. I actually drank Busch Light before it was cool there for a little bit, and then I graduated to Miller Lite. But I hate to say it, I love a Corona Premier with a lime.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
They were good.
They are good.
I do like that. That's honestly like what I would drink now if I was drinking beer.
Well, I mean, I think, there's beer that you drink if you're going to drink the whole box.
Yes,
And then there's beer that you're going to have when you're walking around a party talking to people.
that's true.
And there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Yep.
My party beer is definitely Miller Lite, but I just hate the feeling. Because with me, it's all or nothing. Like, I'm not just going to drink 1 or 2 beers. I'm going to sit there and like cook a whole thing of barbecue and drink 12 beers.
Yep.
So the after effect of beer is what I do not like. And I'm going to sound like a girl saying this. I like the high noon.
Oh,
I
I'm a big.
I'm a
I like high
high noon
noons
guy.
too. Yeah.
I like high noons. There's this one drink. It's called Southside, and it's a gin, like a gin high noon, but they're 10% alcohol. So you got to be careful with them things. You can drink 4 of them, but it's like drinking 8 high noons or beers. So, I try to stay away with them, but tequila, soda water, lime, and lemon is that's my go-to.
That's your go-to.
That's my go-to.
Yeah.
I think it's refreshing. Don't get too hungover. Tequila's probably the best alcohol for you, which none of it's good. So that's kind of my thing. I never was a big whiskey drinker. I never could get into it. Like your old fashions, man, I can't do that.
Yeah.
No.
Whiskey was an occupational hazard of being in the sales world. I mean,
I could see that.
That's how I developed that.
I know. And of course, everybody has their story about Fireball. I mean,
Yeah. Don't even get me started about Fireball.
Dude,
gosh.
just thinking about it just makes me quiver, man. I just can't.
That and Black Velvet. I have a buddy that just loved Black Velvet.
it's terrible.
Oh boy,
I
UV blue back in. Oh gosh.
God.
That was the unity drink. Like our boss at the end of the night at trade show, we'd go out, and when we were all ready to go home, he'd be like, "All right, let's all UV and vodka, UV blue and vodka," and we would let's have 5 of those. And I hated it.
God. No.
But in that LTD in the glove box when I was a kid, we Southern Comfort, and to this day, I'm not kidding you. To this day, if I smell Southern Comfort,
Man.
I'll just be like,
I know. That's how I am with Fireball.
bad experience.
Dude, like, I just cannot even. Anything cinnamon there for a while, just like, I could not even get around it.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
Which the first time I drank Fireball and like 9 natural lights. So that was probably a mixture of the two. Like, not a good combination.
Yep.
So,
Those are all lessons you have to learn.
yeah, dude. I come from the school of hard knocks on
Yeah,
that deal.
there you go.
In a lot of aspects. And that's like the first time I dipped like Skull Cherry. And man, it was the worst. Like, and I still to this day, if I smell anything like that, I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's bad, man.
Let's go rapid fire here because we're getting to the
All right,
end.
yeah.
So what do you think the best cigar you ever smoked in your life?
Dude, I first thing that comes to mind is a Crown Heads Belgian Blue. It's a box press cigar. Man, it's great. It's not sweet like the ones we're smoking now. We're smoking Sweet Janes right now. It's not sweet, but it's not too bitter. Like it's just a really good cigar. But they do like limited runs every year, I think, or something like that. That's good. And I like anything Davidoff cigars are probably the 2 of my favorites. But the best one, I love a Belgian Blue.
Yeah.
So,
What's the most dangerous tree you've ever had to take down?
dude, to me, they're all dangerous. Tree. I think that's one of the most dangerous things. Dude, I cut one. The only reason I cut it the way I did was because it was at my friend's house. But I cut a maple tree that was literally curved over the roof, and it was probably 25 inches at the base. And I hooked a rope to the top, a block, and then hooked it to my bucket truck and pulled it over. And I have a video of it somewhere, but dude, it literally got like 4 foot from the roof line and just laid right over. I was like, oh my gosh. But that's the rush I chase all the time. I love that. So
Yeah.
that's probably the most dangerous.
What's one piece of advice you would give to a 20-year-old who wants to start farming or getting into a business today, small business?
You better have faith and be ready to work like a mule. I mean, that's pretty much it. And don't quit your day job. That's what I would do. And like I said, just try to be as nifty as you can, and if you can, get around a good successful farmer and learn from that. Because most guys will teach you stuff. I mean, that's kind of, like I said, that's how my dad started, and that's probably what I would give somebody. And if you're not crafty working on equipment or not used to breakdowns, you better get used to it, because that's 50% of the work, I feel like.
Yeah.
What's the worst childhood chore that you had to do?
Dude, worst childhood chore.
What's the thing that when your dad came to the house and said, "Boys, did you go, oh,
dude, they all sucked, like in hindsight. So it wasn't that bad. I'm going to tell you the worst thing I ever did was what a morning glory is, right? One year we had it was like 9 acres of tobacco, and something happened to our pre-emergent, and it didn't work. Dude, we had morning glories on every single plant going around the stalk. We had to hand pull every one of them. That sucked. That was probably one of the worst.
Yep.
That I always hated picking up rocks. I had to do that for forever. Like, you'll go around every field of ours and just see huge rock piles. But in hindsight, that wasn't that bad. I mean, I really didn't think any of it was. It all sucked, so it was equally bad.
Yeah.
But I think the morning glory thing sucked. And oil and tobacco for suckers is not my most favorite thing.
Yeah.
I think those are the two worst. But in that one experience, the morning glories were the bane of my existence at that time. And I was like, I hate my dad. Like, this sucks. Why couldn't you get this pre-emergent right? And so, but it was only like 3 acres. But it took us 2 or 3 days all day to do that.
Yeah.
So that was the worst.
That sounds not fun,
dude. It was not fun. It pretty much like, think of pulling morning glories off of corn stalks, but you can't break any leaves.
Right.
That's
how you got to be careful.
Yeah. And I'm like, why can't we get the
There's
guys?
nothing a kid hates worse than having to be careful.
Yeah. Oh man. And it was me, my friend Michael. I think it was just us two out there, and I was so mad. If I didn't have a can of Grizzly Wintergreen in my pocket, I'd be way more mad. It's like 17 at the time, or whatever. So, yeah. That was the worst.
We got a segment on here. It's a tradition at Barn Talk called Tip of the Hat.
Yeah.
So, who's somebody in your life? What's a brand that you use every day? What's a piece of equipment or something that you want to tip your hat to and say, this is a hell of a good person, good thing that I use, that you want to give your flowers to, and why?
Okay.
And you can give a multiple answer too.
Okay. Well, my boy Devlin has this brand called Club Country. He gave me a bunch of hats, so shout out to him. He's cool. Man, I don't, right off a topic, man, that's hard. I'll tell you something I use in my tree business every day is Husqvarna. Like, their saws are awesome. And I think that's one thing as a tip of a hat. And right offhand, man, I don't think nothing's too good. My Indian guy at the liquor store that gives me lighters all the time, that's a tip of the hat kind of guy.
Yep.
Yeah. And really, my mom and dad for not, going crazy on us 6 kids homeschooling us all.
Yeah,
that's a big tip of the hat right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say those few things right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
There's kind of a shotgun blast, nothing too meaningful. But dude at the liquor store that gives me lighters when I buy cigars is a huge G.
Yeah. That's a good man right there.
Big thing right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ghost energy drinks, of course, and 4 shots of espresso over ice to keep you going.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it, man. I love it.
Cool.
I was just thinking, what's one lesson or thing that your dad's taught you that is just stuck with you for your life? Right
Man,
now?
kind of how I said, always try to stay ahead of things. So like when I was talking about the irrigation, don't let things get so bad where whenever you actually do fix them, it could be better if you've done it a week ago.
Yeah.
Stay ahead of things all the time. And I think, especially in the tobacco farming, when you're firing tobacco and when you're in any aspect, you don't need to wait. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. No, you need to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And, because one day can make a big difference.
Mhm.
So I think just staying ahead of things. He's always taught me that and pretty much never quit. I mean, we've had some really hard times, and my dad bitches and moans sometimes about, oh, gosh, I'm about sick of this. But at the end of the day, he gets it done one way or another, or we get it done. So that's the biggest thing. It's just trying to not get down and out and want to quit or give up because, you know, that's probably the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
But if you stay ahead of things, I feel like that is the best advice he's given me is, you know, don't wait till tomorrow. Let's get it done. Even if it's late in the afternoon, you want to go home, just knock it out and it's done. And what I always told myself is when I'm in a terrible situation or doing something I really don't want to do, I just tell myself, hey, it's just time. You're not going to die. At the end of the day, you're going to be laying in the bed and sleep and tomorrow's going to come. So that's what I have to tell myself sometimes whenever you get in those jobs, they're like, there's no end in sight. You know, time is eventually going to end and run out for the day. So, you know, you'll get through it one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jesse, man, it was an absolute pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
Where can people find you if they want to follow you and see your journey?
Yeah, probably on Instagram. It's my name, Jesse Jordan, but it's JESSSE because somebody already stole my name. Or on TikTok, I think it's just Jesse Jordan 99. I probably need to make like a farm page and actually get on that a little bit better, but I've been slacking. So I guess I'm too busy taking pictures with my dogs and stuff. So I need to switch the content over. But, you know, it's been a little bit slow through the winter. So, you know, we're about to start setting. I think it's raining at home right now. So as soon as this rain lets up, we're going to be planting. So
yeah,
we'll get back ramped up on the Instagram and TikTok as long as they don't flag my videos.
Awesome.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you making the trip. Guys, if you got any value, go follow Jesse, share the show with the people that you know, leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We love you guys, and we'll see you back here next week for another episode.